What's the what is that thing that jams it up the hole?
Right.
Jams it up the hole.
Right.
Yeah. This is Twin Stick Radio, episode 32 for the week of August 20th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Trey Higgins, and I'm joined by Chris Rodriguez.
Hello.
And Justin T. Lopez.
Welcome back.
I'm back, bitches.
The dream team is back. All three of us are back for the first time ever
In like a month.
in 2 weeks.
That's not true. It's been 2 weeks.
Feels like forever.
Yeah, it does. It's funny because that first week you were gone was the week after RTX. Mm-hmm. And I remember that I really wanted to talk to you about RTX, but you were gone. And then I forgot last week, which would have been a perfect time because we didn't have a billion things on the news.
I actually forgot you were gone 2 weeks ago.
Do you want to talk about RTX real fast at the top of the show? Knock it out.
No, thanks.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, did I sound like Justin?
That was very convincing. I thought he was using you as like a ventriloquist dummy.
No, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about, really. There wasn't. I was telling Trey whenever I saw him, I think like 2 days after I got back from RTX, whenever I went to see a movie. Wasn't a whole, like there weren't really any big games. There was that Fox.
Of course, there's not.
Tunic was there. Other than that, there was a shit ton of indie games that I've never heard of, and I had no interest in playing.
Sure.
Yeah, but it was fun. I mean, it was RTX.
Yeah, I mean, you can find at least not this past year, but the year before is RTX. Like you can find gems in indie games that are fun, but they're fun for like 2 or 3 hours worth of play, and then you're done with them.
Yeah,
like a Black Ice.
Oh yeah,
that was a fun game.
Black Ice is cool.
It was cool, but it was good for like an hour, and then you were done with it. Just Shapes and Beats is really fun, but I can't sit there and play Just Shapes and Beats for 4 hours. You know what I mean?
Well, and I didn't go as media. I'm assuming as media, you guys probably got more time.
That's the thing is, as media, there were some big games. There were Paragon.
That first year that we went to RTX,
there's a lot of fucking games.
Ubisoft that was there in full force. They were showing off Rainbow Six, and they're showing AC Syndicate upstairs,
closed
privately.
doors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Our previous co-host and Chris were both able to go do that. I opted out because I was like, I have too much to do.
Yeah. That first year too, it was the first year we got to play Dreadnought.
Yep.
That was a good game. That was a big game.
Dreadnought's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just it suffers from those free-to-play problems.
And then the year before last, we got to play. 2 years prior, we got to play a top-down 3-man shooter. I don't remember what it was called. Livelock. That was another really great game. And those were all there weren't any games.
Yeah,
they were probably the Lifelock might have been a Steam greenlit game, but it wasn't an indie.
Yeah,
I mean, good.
The game that they were pushing really hard, I believe, was called Bendy.
Bendy? Oh, I've seen those pops.
Yeah.
I've seen the Funko Pops for those.
It's an interesting like black and white Mickey Mouse,
like Cuphead style.
Yes,
yeah, interesting.
I believe it's a first-person shooter in that style. I'm
really?
not 100% sure. I think I saw people playing it.
That seems very
weird.
It just doesn't seem right. It's like when I see that art style, it's kind of like Cuphead. If Cuphead was a first-person shooter, it'd be so much less.
Or if like Epic Mickey was a first-person shooter.
It's like I want to see my cartoony character like running around and jumping and doing his thing. Yeah, I mean
but it wasn't that stuff like Edith Finch or anything. That developer wasn't there. You're not gonna know.
Yeah,
why am I even asking you?
I mean,
no idea.
So we skipped RTX this year, which you always get a little bit sad about it because it's that time of the year where you go and meet all these people and do cool things. But I think the goal might be to send a small team to cover a couple days next year. But the real thing I want to get into is PAX next year because the RTX it's not about games anymore, and that's fine. Because that's not what people are there for. Yeah. People are there to see Gavin and Bernie and Gus and to do the Rooster Teeth thing, which was cool my first year because I was into Rooster Teeth. But now that I'm an adult, I'm not really like...
I understand that it's just a bunch of people yelling at the camera, not really doing anything.
Yeah. Meanwhile, shirtless Greg, makes me happy. So who am I to judge? But
had I gone as media, I probably would have played more games. I just wasn't going to wait in line for
of course you would
an hour and a half to play a game for 10 minutes.
Fair enough. If we did PAX, I'd be more into the tabletop version this year the tabletop portion this year than I would be.
There was a lot of really. I love the vendors. Like I love going to the exhibit floor and just looking at all the vendors because there's amazing artists.
Yeah, of course.
And there was so many really cool dice. There was like a premium dice seller.
I need to say this on the internet. all of you, with the exception of Trey, are way too obsessed with dice. It's weird and it's freaky, and they're just tiny little polygonal pieces of plastic.
I'm not obsessed.
It's weird. Yes, you guys are.
I'm obsessed, but
two sets.
I can't afford to be obsessed. So it just makes me look better than I actually am.
Good call.
I have 2 sets of dice.
And the argument can be like, I have this bag of dice, but I just buy it. Like, oh, these are cool, and I put it in there. Like,
I can never justify buying
Rich
dice.
too. Rich is like, should I get this one? Is this metal one better than this metal one? It's like, dude, just buy the fucking dice. It's a random roll.
I'm gonna change my position. If I see cool dice, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna pour them in.
Yeah,
there.
I'm just gonna buy 'em.
But like, if I have to spend more than like $12 on dice, that's a problem.
I have a hard time spending $10 on dice.
Yeah. Because
I'm just like, I'll just borrow somebody
However,
else's.
if I were to grab your phone right now, I guarantee you I would find a tab open in the millions of tabs that you have on your phone of dice. And if it's
don't
not,
have time for you to
it's
look.
true. And
I'll have you know, sir, I closed out most of my tabs.
oh, that's good.
I
So,
only have about 10.
I'm glad I could like guilt someone into.
but
doing
like,
things.
we'll get text from like Taylor and Kat in the group. It's like,
Oh.
look at these dice. It's like nobody cares about the dice. Good
Taylor was
Lord.
terrible about it. Taylor bought
Jesus
2 things
Christ.
of dice there.
Which also, those dice have to, even if you're buying Chessex, those dice have to be so much more expensive than just going to.
Surprisingly,
Comic
they weren't.
Relief.
They were like $10 still.
Oh, okay, that's good.
It was like the average price.
Yeah, that's pretty average for the fancy Chessex stuff.
Something to look at.
If you guys haven't listened to us before, we are a podcast about video games. We record weekly, and we are usually up by Friday, unless there's a miscommunication between the editor and me. We start the show with the same segment every week. What's everyone playing? Chris, I know what you're playing.
Man, I've been playing the shit out of World of Warcraft. It's dumb.
Did
That's
you
all
buy
I played.
Battle for Azeroth?
Oh yeah, 100%. So good.
Has it come out yet?
Yeah, it came out on the 15th.
14th, 15th, something like that. It's great. It's fucking awesome. The new Alliance area, 100% like Fable 2. Like that's the vibe I get from it, and it's super cool. Like I just got done doing an entire like section. So I don't know what the Horde's like yet, but the Alliance has 3 different sections you can go to of the new land, world, whatever. And I just got done doing the southwestern section of it, and it was helped to do with like witches and witchcraft, and like it's super Fable. Like that's just what it felt like, and it was really fucking cool.
That's cool too, because the art style kind of lends itself to
Oh, 100%,
sort of a
yeah.
Fable vibe.
And it was really fun. It's good. It's WoW. It's more WoW, and the story is super fucking cool, man.
Did you have to make a new character to go into those places, or did you
No,
use your like
I had
level
110. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as long as you're 110, you can go do the new Battle for Azeroth stories. I have 110 on Alliance and Horde, so.
So I have 2 questions. Question number 1 is I saw a headline that World of Warcraft is setting up certain characters to take bigger roles. Does the Battle for Azeroth, has it like concluded an actual story, or are you guys waiting for updates over time?
Every patch gives you more and more parts of the story.
Okay.
So like right now, as far as I am, and spoilers for the actual like first hour of Battle for Azeroth, the Lion side, is Jaina Proudmoore. After the battle for Lordran, she comes in and basically saves the day. Anduin the king says, we need more help. And she's like, well, I can go back to my homeland and get the Kultirans to help the Alliance. And that starts to unravel this entire mystery where like Jaina Proudmoore is responsible for thousands of Kultirans' deaths, including her father's. So you go back to Kultiran, and as soon as you land with her, she's arrested. You're arrested. She's put on trial. She gets tried for murder. And she's planned to be executed. Like a main character for this thing goes back to her hometown, and her mother decides to execute her, saying, "You're no child of mine." And that's kind of like where I'm at in that whole Alliance part. I don't know how the Horde goes yet. But it's super cool because it's like it's setting up. Well, I mean, you've got your main characters like Proudmoore, Anduin, Gin Greymane on Alliance, and Sylvanas Sarfang on Horde side. But I it's just the beginning portion. So like Battle for Azeroth, the entire story is probably going to pan out the next 6 months.
Okay.
And every patch, you're going to get new story beats to get to.
That's really cool. I mean, that's SWTOR did that.
Yep.
But that's something that, like, again, Destiny should do.
Oh, I completely agree with you.
You like it should just be rolled out over time. It should
agree.
not you know,
I
I'm
100%
okay
agree.
with spending $60 on a new expansion
Yep.
if it means that I have 6 months of story to look forward to.
That's fair. How often do the patches come out? Like, getting it, like once a
8.1,
month?
8.1. So I think like the end of October, November is when 8.1 is supposed to come out. So you're talking 8, which was Battle for Azeroth, and then October, November for 8.1. So 2 months, every 2 months you get new content, which includes dungeons. Every patch, I think they said every patch is going to bring a new raid as well. 2 new dungeons. So there's a lot of shit to do. Like they're pumping. There's a lot of shit in Battle for Azeroth.
That's good because that gives it like that's enough time to give pretty much everyone who cares to enough time to do what you need to do for a story.
Oh
And
yeah,
then,
sure, of course,
and
but
then-
that doesn't really matter. Like you can go at your own pace in WoW, which is really nice. Everything's instance based, so like you'll be doing things, and all of a sudden I'll turn in a quest, and then just people just pop up around me. And it's because I finished that instance,
Right, and
and
now
so
you're
I
back
get, and
into
now
the-
I'm back into the actual world, where I need to be. Does that make sense? Like, so it doesn't really matter. You're affecting your world. You're not really, you don't affect WoW as a whole.
Yeah.
The story affects WoW as a whole.
Right. Well, that's kind of like what we talked about whenever we talked about Anthem, how
Sure.
it was going to affect the world.
Player
versus your
choice.
instance
Yeah, player
kind of thing.
choice couldn't affect WoW because there's. I think they said at Gamescom 10.1 million people are sub to WoW.
Yeah,
again.
well, I mean, but that's also
So-
not the experience that you expect from WoW, right?
Of course
like
not, yeah.
that's a different. Like I expect it from Anthem because that's BioWare's MO.
Yeah. Yeah, WoW, you expect a really cool leveling
Yeah.
experience and just, a social
Tons of
aspect.
content
Yeah, exactly.
and a decent story, if
Yep.
not a great story. Question number 2. I saw another headline that was saying that players are taking off their gear to be
Yeah.
more powerful. What is that? I didn't read it. I'm lazy.
So in this new expansion, they give you you're bound to a neck slot called the Heart of Azeroth. And if as you do things, this Heart of Azeroth levels up with your character all the way up to level 20. The necklace gets to level 20, and that unlocks new Azerite armor. And it's actually a really cool system. So as you level up the Heart of Azeroth, this armor that drops for you called Azerite armor evolves. So now you can have a chest piece, and you have 3 levels of that chest piece, and each level gives you a new perk that works with your build. And each piece of armor, so if you have like 4 chest pieces, it's random. So each chest piece could give you different perks. And each chest piece could also take like the 3 levels. They could unlock at level 1, 2, or 3, or they could unlock a level like 5, 15, and 20. Like it depends on how powerful the perks are. Anyway, so if you're in the main world, if you actually take the necklace off, it scales all the enemies down, but you keep the power that you got from all the other pieces of armor, and it's just easier to kill things. That's all.
okay,
Yeah, it's because World of Warcraft scales now, so there's no more.
it's like ESO.
Yes, certain. Yeah, there are definitely areas where like I can't go to Kultiris as a level 40. You just can't do it because you'll just get wrecked. But most areas now are from 1 to 10, and then from like 20 to 80. So if you're between 20 and 80, you can go do this zone. It doesn't matter. The whole world scales to you, which is cool.
Yeah,
It's
that
good
is
shit.
cool.
That's all I played. I think. Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Hey Justin, what are you playing?
Oh, just Overwatch, the huge. This is what I told them last week too. I'm trying to get Overwatch and Rocket League and stuff all out of the way, so that way once September 7th rolls around, it's just Spider-Man.
I'm so sick of you
And then
talking
I
about
get-
Spider-Man. I am super excited for that game. We talked about that when you were gone. If you had listened to the podcast, you would know that. I'm super excited about that game, but I'm so sick of you like talking about how excited you are.
Because I'm getting a PlayStation and it's the game that comes with it.
And you're
So I'm
going to be
gonna play
done
the
with it
shit
in
out of it.
20 hours.
That's fine. And then I'll move on to something else.
I don't know. You're a weird gamer. You can play those other games while you're playing Spider-Man. It prolongs Spider-Man.
I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing with Destiny. Like Destiny comes out on the 4th, Spider-Man comes out on the 7th. I'm buying both games, so I'll be playing Destiny
7th?
probably more. 7th is a
Tuesday.
Friday.
That's stupid. Why? Why?
Because it's Spider-Man and it's Sony.
Just
They
have
can release it on
everything
a
come
Friday.
out on a Tuesday.
I know,
Everything
I
comes
agree.
out on Tuesday.
But at least it gives me like 3 days of uninterrupted Forsaken. But I also predict that what's going to happen is I'm going to like forget about Spider-Man until I'm bored with Forsaken in November.
Sounds about right.
October.
Yeah. I guess it's my turn now. Do you have anything else?
Sure. Yeah, because Overwatch and Spider-Man are stupid. So
That, to be fair, I
It's
never
true.
said Spider-Man was stupid. Also, Chris thinks Overwatch is stupid. I never said that. Did you have anything you want to talk about with Overwatch?
I got my cool football Reinhardt skin that I wanted, and that makes me happy.
Randomly.
It was the well,
There's
no,
a deep
it was
sigh from Everett. Everett, what's your deep sigh? I wanted that. I wanted that.
no, it was the perfect Overwatch loop of like I was getting really tired, I wasn't really getting anything. Taylor convinced me to play one more match, got a loot box, got it, and I was like, boom, done. That's all I
That
needed.
sounds like torture.
It does sound like torture. That does not sound like a
I've done
good
that
loop.
before, and I know it's torture, but I've never like gone so far to grind for
Yeah,
one.
in no way does that sound like a good loop.
You guys played Destiny for 3 months, getting like a light level.
That's different though, because the majority of the stuff that we're grinding for in Destiny isn't timed. So
do you
if
mean?
I'm not grinding for one thing that's only available for 1 week out of the year. Solstice of Heroes being the exception. But every week I get in, I play for 4 hours, and if I don't get the drops I need for my light level, I can stop playing. Whereas with Overwatch, if you really want that skin, you have to keep playing.
You can't stop. You have to
can't
keep
stop.
going. It's not a good loop.
And it's what we talked about last week, and why I think I'm probably done with it for a really long time, if not for forever. Just because like they don't introduce enough skins into the general population of skins, which means that when I'm playing that game, I'm grinding and not getting the shit I want from events, and that.
I mean, this is just the way the game is built, but I don't think any game their reward system should just be skins. That is not a reason to play that game.
no, the reason to play is because it's fun.
Sure, which you were going to stop because you were getting tired.
It was 3 a.m.
Oh, you were getting tired body wise. Got it.
So I've had a ton of fun playing now that I have people to play with. I hate playing by myself.
No, that's fair.
Sure.
No, I don't think anyone's saying like stop playing Overwatch. I'm just saying that like that grind that you experienced to get one skin, when the possibility existed that you couldn't get that skin, right? You could have played that one more match with Taylor, opened up that loot box, and gotten all blues.
Oh yeah.
Like that, like it just that doesn't sound like
I think
fun,
it-
and I know it's not fun.
I think it helps to set your expectations to nothing, so that way whenever you get something, it's
You should,
like
yeah, but
cool.
you should never play a reward based game with the expectation of nothing.
That's the funny thing about Overwatch, though, is like I think part of the reason why I'm done with it is because it's not a reward based game, right?
No, maybe it's not.
Like-
yeah, maybe the fun. That's Fortnite. Like, what's the fun in Fortnite? You're literally doing the same thing over and over and over again. No matter how fun the game is, I don't actually consider that fun. If there was nothing for me to do in Destiny, which there isn't, I'm not going to play it. Which I haven't for 2 weeks because there's nothing to do.
Well, I mean, and that's the problem that's just the problem that we've run into Destiny, right? Is that it got to the point where we were doing the same thing over and over again, but there wasn't a reason to do it.
Right.
Because we had a slim chance to get one reward of something that we wanted. I get if you play Overwatch or like Fortnite because that gameplay loop is fun for you and you're fine with just that gameplay loop.
Sure.
But I, as a player,
Yep.
need something to progress towards.
That's my thing too. I need progression. So WoW is perfect for me. I'm always
progression.
progressing in
Right.
something. Yeah. So it's just I can't. Sounds really weird, but I can't just sit down and play a game for fun.
also
I need
problem.
something to be coming my way for that to work.
Yeah.
I have fun playing it. It's two completely opposite statements, right? I have fun playing Destiny. However, I don't have fun playing games where it's just where nothing's coming to me and I'll just not play it. Like again, 2 weeks now I haven't played Destiny because there's
actually-
nothing for me
yeah,
to do.
but you guys play
You played,
games
like-
similarly. I play it different. Like,
No. I don't think this is coming from a place of
no,
judgment.
of course
I think
not.
it's just exploring
it is
the
for me.
idea of
100% judging.
I'm
you.
not judging you.
hard.
It's just
I'm
exploring
giving
the
you the oho.
it's exploring the idea of Overwatch, and I don't know what you would do to that game to make me invested in it again, because the skins aren't going to work. But how do you add any sort of actual progression? Like,
A leveling system where
Or-
two soldier 76s aren't the same.
yeah, or just some sort of customized
I
system,
guess,
right?
but that would fundamentally just break the game.
You wouldn't break it if they do it right. And
I
Blizzard
mean-
Blizzard can do it right. There's no question in my mind that Blizzard can do it right. If you were to introduce some sort of like branching tree leveling system for every character, Blizzard would be able to balance that.
it's
'cause
kind
they're
of
good.
I mean,
at
it's
it.
But I
but
just-
it's like
I
Diablo,
like the-
right?
I like the
Oh, God,
idea-
that
I
scared
like-
the fuck out of me.
I like the idea of just getting better at a game. So that way you can two of the same character or the same person, I can be playing soldier and someone else can be playing soldier, and if I'm better than them, then I could outplay them.
But look at Diablo, right? Diablo is a game where there is a set amount of abilities that you get as a character. So it's not necessarily you level up and you get them, but sometimes the ability that you get at level 5 is better than the ability that you get at level 20. So you're not necessarily better just because you have these new perks, but you have more options.
Right, you build like a loadout.
Yeah.
Almost.
So for soldier, maybe instead of having the explosive missile thing, I can change it into a stun shot, or some. That's not a good idea, the best idea, but something like that, where you balance it, where it's you have reasons to run both of these things depending on team comp and the abilities that your other people are running, but you also have to work to unlock these. But a basic vanilla soldier is just as viable as a soldier with the stun shot.
Well, I think, but that's the draw of having so many different characters. Is if you want to stun people, also doing this, play McCree, or
sure, but
the whole idea of a loadout is pointless in Overwatch whenever there's so many different characters.
It's not though, because you run into the thing. It's like you have Dota and you have Heroes of the Storm and you have all these things where they don't. There are different ways to play every character in a MOBA, and for the the extent of this conversation, Overwatch is pretty much a first-person MOBA. To an extent, I'm not, it's not a huge
not
comparison,
mobs
right?
or
Exactly,
anything,
but and every character in Dota, they can be played differently. It just depends on team comp, right? You may need character A to do this, but somebody else is also playing character A, but they need to do that. You know what I mean?
And you have perks that you pick when
Right.
you're leveling up. You have 2 different trees that you can
Right.
essentially go down as characters.
I would be more invested in Overwatch if something like that were to happen, but it's not going to.
And I can understand why the player base doesn't want that too. And that's
Sure.
the reason why I probably won't ever go back to that game, because that's something that I do want from it. And there are other, we have a new former BioWare developers game on here that actually sounds interesting to me, that kind of follows that idea. Speaking of BioWare,
What are you playing?
I have played 20 hours of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on my phone. They ported the game 4 or 5 years ago.
It's a while.
Yeah, I bought it, and I think I tried it once, and I was like, this control's weird. But this weekend, I was like, I really want to play something on just in my bed, and I don't have a Switch or a Vita, so I just started playing it on my phone. It is a great fucking port. It looks really good. The controls are slightly weird to get used to, but it's no different than playing the game with a mouse. It's just movements a little bit different.
Sure.
But the most shocking thing about that game is that it's now 15 years old. And aside from some slightly cheesy writing that happens every now and again, it still holds up. To me, it holds up in the same way that Super Mario still holds up, right? I think anyone could jump in and play this on Xbox, backwards compatibility, or on their phone or on PC, and still get around the same amount of enjoyment that we all got when the game first came out. Also, I love the fact that we've been playing D&D, because it made this game so much easier for me to understand. Because it is D&D. There are perks that match up with D&D feats that match up with D&D feats. So understanding what all these stats are and what I'm building towards and what I'm doing.
Sure.
It's crazy. I'm I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to build this charismatic fighter. So, strength, constitution, and charisma are my stats. Everything else is at 10. And it's just it's
Just D&D Star Wars themed.
So if you've ever wanted to play KOTOR and you don't have a PC and you don't have an Xbox, but you have a mobile phone, I would recommend buying it. It's $10.
Sure. Oh, I was gonna say that's the cheapest way to play it. It's just go buy a fucking Xbox. You can probably get an original Xbox for $30. I would think. I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know how much the game would be. $5. I don't know. I don't know if that game's rare or not.
but it's also kind of cool too, because I played a little bit of Baldur's Gate. Never played Baldur's Gate 2. Never played Jade Empire.
Baldur's Gate. Oh, the original Baldur's Gate on PS2.
Yeah, I guess.
Champions of Norath and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I haven't played either of those 2 games. I haven't played Jade Empire.
You've never played Jade Empire?
Jade
Nope.
Empire's great.
Holy shit, man. That's a
I've
great fucking
never
game.
finished Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, which I'll have to do on my PC because there is not a fucking mobile phone port. But the other 3 games I mentioned all have mobile phone ports. And I am totally down to get the enhanced edition of Baldur's Gate on my phone and just play it.
Wait, there's the original Baldur's Gates on the phone too.
Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition and Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition are on the phone.
Interesting. And
Is
Jade
Jade
Empire.
Empire on the
And
phone?
Jade Empire is on the phone.
Really?
Really, like the only BioWare
That's
game from
fucking
like
awesome.
that time that's not on the phone, and it's not even BioWare, it's Obsidian, is Knights of the Old Republic.
I'd
2.
play Jade. I would play Jade Empire on my phone. I love that game.
I can't imagine how it would control. I don't know. I don't
So-
play games like that on my phone though. So
If Jade Empire plays anything like Knights of the Old Republic,
It doesn't. It's more. It's all active.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's all press A, kick, press A, kick. It's I don't. It's not turn-based combat. It's all active combat.
yeah.
So I don't know how it would play on the. I don't know.
It's just, everyone should play Star Wars on Knights of the Old Republic.
I agree.
Though.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
it's just so
The
perfect.
twist is still one of the best twists ever written in stories. Period.
Man, but like there's even like looking back on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic before, I always thought I hated Terrace. Because I hated the Undercity.
It's just long.
But the funny thing is like playing it now, it takes 8 hours to get through.
That's a long time.
But like it's a lot more linear than I remember it being, and you don't spend that much time in the Undercity.
It's because you don't have a lightsaber.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why it
and
takes
you
you.
also
It takes you 8 hours to get a lightsaber in KOTOR.
And you have to-
Yeah.
That's why.
you have to use a vibro sword.
Yep.
Because if you're putting perks into blasters, you're kind of dumb.
Yep.
So you have to use a vibro sword like in order to be viable.
That's actually true. Like, has anybody ever played a range character in KOTOR?
Yeah, there are
in
builds for it.
That's weird.
There are builds to play like a Jedi with a blaster, but it's like that is
Why?
not the
Really?
fantasy.
I know why.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
But like when you're playing through Terrace, it's really, really good. Like it's a lot better
Yeah.
than I remember it.
It's super cool.
Every part of it's super cool. But that you spend all this time on Terrace, right? You spend 8 hours on Terrace, which is longer than you spend on the next planet, Dantooine. And actually it's probably longer than you spend on like a lot of the individual planets too.
Possibly. Except for maybe Corbin and,
but-
and Tatooine.
Uh
Tatooine's big.
yeah, Tatooine is big. I just got there. But spoilers for the beginning of Knights of the Old Republic.
15 years.
You spend all
Too
this time,
fucking bad.
You spend all this time on Terrace, you invest in all these different characters and factions, and you build up these relationships and help people out. And then fucking Malik just bombs it to shit.
Yep.
And everyone dies.
Yep.
And it's a little bit heartbreaking when you
Yep.
think about it. Like when you think about that moment, it's like, oh shit.
It's really cool.
But it's also made me really excited to go back to Star Wars: The Old Republic, which I plan on doing. I want to play through KOTOR and KOTOR 2.
Whoa.
And then I'm going through The Old Republic again.
Tell me a date. Tell me a time. I'm fucking there.
Because like I remember when you go to Terrace,
Yep.
right? You can totally go through the Promised Land shit.
Yep.
But I will probably, it's like
Also, when there's a quest where you have to go help one of the, I don't know, say 501st. It's probably not them, but you have to go help stormtroopers who are trapped inside of an old Republic cruiser that crashed onto Terrace, and you end up finding out that it's actually the Harbinger. So when you walk into the Harbinger, the Knights of the Old Republic theme starts playing while you're working your way through it. It's so fucking cool. So good.
but that's
is that far into the game or is that?
Terrace is probably your level 35 to 45 content.
yeah,
'Cause I was
think
gonna say I never saw stormtroopers.
you either go
Not stormtroopers,
You said-
troopers.
oh, sorry, troopers.
I didn't mean to say stormtroopers. Troopers.
it's either at like the end of your first story arc or the beginning of your second story
Yeah,
arc.
something like that. It's I think it's like 35 to 45.
I was happy just to get a lightsaber.
But yeah, I'm gonna go back to it probably this year. Like
Give me a date and time.
I will.
I'm
'Cause
there.
I just it's so fucking cool. I am so blown away that this game still holds up because I really thought I was gonna play it and it just wasn't gonna be that great.
Sure.
Because that happens a lot.
KOTOR 2 still I think mechanically KOTOR 2's better. Story-wise it's not. But mechanically it's such a good game.
Well, there's an official patch that
yeah.
Aspyr Games, who ported all these other BioWare games
I have
over,
it.
there's an official patch that they release that restores a bunch of the content that was cut. Which, if you look at SWTOR 2's like development history, it's actually kind of tragic.
KOTOR 2.
KOTOR 2. What did I say?
SWTOR.
Oh yeah. If you look at KOTOR 2's development history, it's actually kind of tragic because it was one of those things where Obsidian was given a game and an engine. They're given a expected release date, and then LucasArts was like, "No, we need to get this out faster.
Yeah,
you have
which
2
sucks.
years," and so they had to cut a shit ton of content. And
Which
it's
is
also
re-
why it's so buggy.
Yeah, which is really fucking stupid because you have at that time, I don't think Obsidian had done anything, really. They have worked with BioWare as probably a secondary developer for some shit, but then they were finally given a game. It's like, here you go. Oh, but do this. No. But then they go on to make stuff like Fallout New Vegas, which is again hands down the best Fallout that's out there. And then Pillars of Eternity 2, which those are all fucking great games.
Tyranny.
Obsidian's a great fucking developer, and
Well, LucasArts had a lot of problems, right? Like,
I mean, not back then they didn't.
no.
No.
No, I mean that was like the heyday of LucasArts
Yeah.
games. It's like when Bounty Hunter came out, both the Battlefronts,
Republic
Jedi Starfighter,
Republic Commando. The Jedi Academy
Jedi
games.
Academy.
Yeah.
But I also think something that's funny about KOTOR 2 is that one of the leads at Obsidian that helped write the story actually really hated the idea of the Force. He just thought that this
why he
whole
just
idea
wiped
of
it out.
destiny and how you have to give up who you are as a person in order to be a Jedi, and how embracing who you are kind of makes you dark side. So that's why that story takes like this
Super cool,
this
man.
super cool
Yeah.
like lean about the Force, where
Yeah.
it's you're one of the first characters you recruit to your party is like, we are going to destroy the Force.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So
You should play those games, Justin. Oh, you're not a Star Wars
Isn't
fan.
the Force just midichlorians in your blood?
Sure, why not?
gross. You guys ready for the news?
Always.
Sure.
Always. Quite a lot of news. Destiny players will get a chance to play Forsaken's new Gambit mode a little early. Bungie will be running a free trial of the mode starting September 1st from 1 p.m. EDT to 1 p.m. EDT on September 2nd. Console players will need to have an active Xbox Live or PS Plus subscription to participate in the trial, but it will otherwise be available to all players regardless of their DLC ownership.
So should we play this or no?
Oh, I'm going to play.
But are we getting anything from it? Is there just like is it my warlock I'm taking in there, or is it like
I think it's your Warlock.
is it a weird build?
I
type
haven't
thing?
read the Bungie Weekly Update. I don't even know if it's out yet.
Okay.
It's probably.
So-
I would imagine it'd probably be your character,
So
but
am
you
I
just
getting
probably can't.
Am
keep,
I getting rewards for this?
I don't think you would keep anything like rewards, XP.
because it's
I don't think
after
you
the
get
28th patch, which means all the Forsaken shit goes into the game already.
I would hope, even if it's something like an emblem, right?
Yeah, like
which
an
is not-
emblem or-
like, hey, like I played Gambit early. I would
Yeah.
hope that there is something there to incentivize play.
Exactly. Or
However, it's Bungie, so I,
think
bet
it's
it's
just
gonna be like
I think it's
Crucible
just
Labs.
it's just a stress test, really.
Sure, but like, I mean, I was in we were in the Destiny Alpha, so we have an emblem for it. We were, day one Destiny, so we have an emblem for it. Like something.
But it's not really. This isn't really like a alpha or anything. It's just like
It's a beta.
So a lot of
Well,
stuff
yeah,
is,
but it's like just try it for free. Like I think it's just to build hype for it.
a lot of stuff is changing after the patch. Like there are going to be things to go for after the patch. So it's possible that.
Wait, what do you
get
mean? There's things to go for?
Like there are things that you can do pre-Forsaken that
sure.
kind of help your progression.
Got it.
So I would hope that there's something there, but I also am not expecting anything because it's Bungie.
That's dumb.
Speaking of Bungie, they also released a new trailer for Forsaken today, which is essentially the thing they do before any major expansion, where they kind of show you that first major cutscene.
Sure, yeah, it is, and they said that is the cutscene of the game. It's in the game.
Yeah.
that's the game cutscene. So
Kind of
heavy
like that
spoilers.
Osiris one that they showed last year.
Heavy
at-
fucking spoilers if we talk about it.
Is it heavy spoilers?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't
trailer.
think it is.
No, I guess not.
I mean,
Sure.
Of course, like to me, the
I guess
funniest-
it's the way things happen.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like the way his ghost is killed
Essentially-
is not the same way it's killed in the original Forsaken
which is
trailer.
I don't understand. So I guess this cutscene was probably done after that trailer. That's the only reason
Sure,
I can think about.
yeah.
Because just the inconsistencies in how that works.
Well, that's the thing is like I don't understand. That was my first. I was like, "Whoa, that was super fucking cool. I've never seen a ghost be killed before." And I thought to myself, like, "But Aldrin killed his ghost. Like I saw Aldrin shoot the damn ghost, and then I saw Aldrin hold the gun to Cade's head. So who actually killed the ghost? Like I don't know. You have liberties at telling stories in video games, but there needs to be some sort of consistency. It's the thing that annoys the shit out of me in WWE. There's no consistency. 20 years ago, something happened, and I understand it's 20 years, but it still happened. You can't act like it never fucking happened because it
That's not
fucking
canon.
happened. Exactly.
Well,
like there's got to be some consistency.
And that's my thing about like that first trailer, right? Is that Aldrin kills the ghost, and that's okay.
Sure.
Like but the thing that they actually ended up doing is so much fucking cooler.
It is, yeah.
It's a better moment. You get to see a moment where Cade is like embracing who he is.
Literally the first time in the world where Cade doesn't say a joke.
Yeah.
Literally.
Which for people like I am one of those people that don't mind that Cade, but I can understand why. Like Chris, you expressed before how it was frustrating.
It just makes me want to kill him even more. Like I want to kill Cade myself.
like Aldrin, give me the ace of spades. I'll
dude,
do it.
Well, it's like, dude, you're literally surrounded by, I don't know, hundreds of these things that are trying to kill you, and you can't be serious for one fucking moment.
What better time to make a
Well,
joke?
but that's
so
one
dumb.
of those things. To me, it was like it was a sign of just Cade's arrogance, right?
Sure.
Like that is a sign of Cade not realizing that he is fucked.
Sure.
And that's a sign of like I think if you walked into this DLC not realizing that Cade was gonna die, right? Like let's say that they didn't do that E3 trailer and this was the first time that we saw Cade die. When all that shit was happening, I would have expected as a player, oh, Cade's gonna get out of this. He's a guardian.
Sure,
This is
possibly.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have assumed that Cade was gonna die at the end of that.
I mean, and I understand the undertones of the whole, Guardians can't be killed, right? Because they really can't unless your ghost dies. Like, I understand the undertones of, like, you're not immortal. There are certain circumstances that can happen to do this. And when it actually happens to him, he does have that tinge of, like, well, I'm coming home, son, type thing, right? And it's like, cool. Like,
And it's super dark and
it is pretty dark. But again, I want to pick up the Ace of Spades and shoot Cade. That's what I want to do.
What are you going to do whenever they bring him back?
I really think. Is it possible they bring him back? Of
Yes.
course. Anything.
I think-
it's a post Rage 2 world.
I
I don't
think-
think.
I
I
think-
don't think that they would bring in Nolan North to just.
Bring in Nolan North. Nolan North is Destiny. He voices everything in Destiny.
No, I get that, but I'm saying like, why would you not? If you were just gonna voice Cade for another session, why not have?
Because it's a big moment.
Right. So
One
why
of
not
the
have the original?
Because Nathan
voice
Fillion
actors?
wasn't available.
Because he wasn't available.
We went over that in the news a couple weeks ago. He
Yeah,
openly
but-
was like, "Hey, I had other shit going on, and so they had to use Nolan."
I
North,
think
and
it's
he did
a
good
I
job."
think it's a
Oh, okay.
60-40. Cade stays dead 60, but I think like there's a fairly high chance that Bungie's like, haha, we bamboozled you.
I
Cade
just-
7's back.
He brings.
I like.
He comes back as a ghost. So
I
you
just think
you
would
have
come
a
back
ghost. Just
he would come back as
cracking
Cade 7.
jokes.
He would come back as Cade 7.
I
That's
just
what
think-
that's what happens to Exos. They get
Right.
rebooted.
Yeah.
I just think that if they're going to go with this route of marketing killing Cade, if that's going to be the slant for the things that we're doing and moving on to a more darker Destiny world, if they bring him back, I would just be really disappointed in
Of course, I would be too.
I would
but
be very disappointed.
I
because
really
what's
think
the fucking point?
Yeah, but I really think there's like a 40% chance that
Of
they do
course.
that because it's Bungie.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
But I really hope that if this is the route that you're going to go, you leave it alone.
Yeah,
You do
I
it
agree.
and you fucking move on.
I
Make a
100%
bold
agree.
statement. Stick with it.
Also, let's just kill all the expensive voice actors. Osiris
True.
is next.
Yeah, no
Fucking
shit.
Segura. Let's get them all.
Did you see? And we don't have to go too far into it, but there was a pretty big leak on Reddit about Forsaken.
I didn't read any of it.
So in August the 6th, this dude posted on Reddit, and people called him a dumbass. And then Bungie's weekly update came out last week and was like, oh yeah, there is a gambit system, there is this, and there like every single thing this dude has put on the post is 100% real. Like it's actually the first time anything's like a leak has been put on Reddit that turned out to be like exactly what this dude's saying is exactly how this whole thing's panning out. He said there's going to be a ranking system called Infamy and Gambit, and some dude said Infamy, that's really dumb. And then last week on Bungie's weekly update, the Gambit system's ranking is called Infamy. It's like,
Love it.
anyway, there's a lot of really cool shit in there. And if the raid boss, I'm just going to leave it at this. I'm not actually going to say anything because of everybody. But
I kinda wanna know.
if the raid boss is what this dude and people expect it to be, I am super fucking.
I'm okay
in.
with that being spoiled. But
Dev.
You already said dude, so you're already starting to spoil it.
No, I'm not.
Just continue.
Continue.
so
It's on Reddit.
So
listeners,
the-
skip forward like a minute.
Let's do like I don't know 3 minutes forward, if that.
Starting.
Once every
I will try to get a timestamp and just put it in the description.
Sure, that's fine. The timestamp is
that actually won't be accurate because it has the front loaded.
I'll give us 3 minutes.
okay.
Starting now.
Okay, so the raid is supposedly called The Last Wish.
Okay.
And the way they are talking about the raid boss is it's very much pointing toward it possibly being the last Ahamkara alive,
Okay.
which sounds super fucking cool.
That does sound cool.
And a lot of people, because like the raid's called The Last Wish. There is a bow called something about wishes, and it has. To, and if you look at the actual bow, there's there's like serpents on the thing. Pictures from the raid show serpents and everything else like that all over the place. So a lot of people think this thing that Petra is worried about in the Dreaming City is an Ahamkara. Which sounds super fucking cool.
And what is an Anhamkara?
Ahamkaras are, in layman's terms, they're space dragons that grant wishes in Destiny in the Destiny
That
universe.
sounds awesome.
But their
grants
wishes, but their wishes have negative consequences. So
right,
I
just like
say,
every wish.
I wish I had a really cool gun, and I get this really cool gun, and it makes me shoot Chris.
Right.
Like there's a consequence for me wishing from an Ahamkara. So all these guardians were making deals with these dragons.
Right.
And the fucking Vanguard sent up huts.
The Warlock
hunts.
Vanguard.
The Warlock Vanguards set up
went and hunted
hunts
down all the Ahamkara.
to wipe them all out.
which apparently has happened. However, if this thing is, the leaks are real, like there's one Ahamkara that possibly the Awoken had found and kept in the Dreaming City for some reason. Sounds super fucking cool. It did say what I said about Uldren. His motives are he thinks Mara's still alive.
I think
that's why he's doing all this.
I think I agreed with you.
Yeah.
That seems like the likely thing.
I think I criticize Destiny quite a bit, but I fucking love this game, and I am super in this story. If that's the thing is like normally it'd be like, oh, it's a leak. Fuck it, none of it's real. But everything this dude has said so far it's been in weekly updates in the last 2 weeks.
Did you see his last post?
No, I did not see his last post.
He put up a last post that was basically like, hey, no more leaks. He said reason number one that he was planning on doing it anyways because a lot of these leaks were going onto YouTube channels and people were getting spoiled when they had no intention. The second reason why is because Bungie reached out to him and was like, hey, first of all, how are you figuring this out?
Shit.
Second of all, could you please stop? Like, let people experience this. We're not gonna like do anything to make you stop.
That's hard,
but we're
man.
really asking you to stop. And he was like, I was already gonna stop anyways.
Sure.
But when Bungie reached out to me, I told them how I found the leaks.
I don't understand how that's not validity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the developers asking you to stop, it's
Right.
like
That's a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't from a source. It was literally like leaked from code. He found some sort of
Wow.
backdoor leak through some software, whether it's through the
Wow.
website, API, or the actual game. But apparently that's how he got all that
wow,
information.
that dude's good, man.
And that's 3 minutes.
That's fine. Anyway, I'm pretty excited for the story of Destiny. I'm not excited for random rolls. I'm not excited for how progression's going to work. I'm not excited about all that. But the story is going to keep me playing Destiny for a little while. It sounds super cool.
Next up on our list, members of the gaming press were able to get another demo of CD Projekt Red's upcoming Cyberpunk 2077. Although the demo is pretty much the same section of the game seen at E3, IGN reported on some differences in the more up-to-date demo. For one thing, the demo audience was able to choose a gender for the playable character.
Why?
V.
You don't see him. You don't see the character.
You see him in cutscenes. In the E3 demo, audiences were previously only allowed to see gameplay of the female version of the protagonist. Notable differences include subtle changes in dialogue and NPC interactions. Interestingly, the demo opens up with V waking up in bed next to a man in both the female and male gameplay. Other changes in the demo include differences in mission paths and reflect both player agency and NPC interactions based off of V's stats. In the case of this demo, IGN hypothesized that the protagonist's cool stat, which is a real thing, may have affected interaction between the player and an NPC. So all that sounds cool. I thought
as soon as I heard this game was first person, I'm almost out completely.
I can finally be cool.
I can be cool.
so. I'm not in or out. I'm kind of in the middle ground.
Sure.
On one hand, like I am excited for another CD Projekt Red game. However, I don't know if I can commit the time to complete.
I was going to say
any
you haven't even played a CD Projekt Red game from start to finish ever.
I've played like 20 hours of it too. Like that's the thing. Like 20 hours is a lot of time.
It is a lot of time.
But you don't make a dent.
You're like
you don't make a dent in 20 hours.
You're like 100 hours outside of finishing it.
But on the other hand, it's like
We're talking about Witcher 3, Justin.
yeah. But on the other hand, like it's really hard for me to get committed to anything when you won't show me gameplay, and I get that it's super early.
Oh yeah,
But, like-
what did we say? I said, what did we say? 2020, 2021 for this game.
I'm almost convinced that this is a next gen title.
Okay,
go ahead
fair
and say
enough. So
20
2020, 2021.
2077. About
Sure,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
coming out in 20. It's in the title.
Sounds about
Clearly. You fools.
I just thought it was super interesting though that like they didn't show it to the public, so it doesn't fucking matter, of course. But the fact that they're just like, hey, like this dude just fucked a dude, and we're showing this demo, and it's a part of the demo, it's a part of this character story. Like we're doing it and it's fine. That to me was just really interesting and I thought was kind of gutsy because it's just something that like you see in games, but it's not like Dragon Age leads with you fucking railing some random elf dude, you know? Even though it's a part of that game.
Or what are the horned guys called?
Kunari.
Or Kunari, yeah. You as
Or
a
getting rammed by a Kunari.
yeah, as a human, as a dwarf female in Dragon Age Inquisition, you can have sex with a Kunari, which is like 8 feet tall.
It's like a
just
tiefling on steroids.
That sounds
kind of
terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Anyway.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, like as soon as I heard this was first person, I'm almost out. Like it sucks, but I really am. I'm almost
Why?
out because I don't like first person games. I'm sorry. I don't like RPGs where I get to customize everything about my character and then never get to see him except for cutscenes. Bothers the shit out of me. Same thing in Dishonored. If Dishonored was a third person shooter or a third person game, I would have enjoyed that game so much more.
Yeah.
I understand why it's first person. We've had this conversation before. However, my personal preference, I like to see the character that I'm customizing and evolving.
So I get that. Like I think I would be really upset if there was a BioWare game that was only first person.
Sure.
Because part of that is seeing that progression, and I also just think BioWare games are third person. I do think though that like say The Witcher was only first person. I don't know how you do that. Let's just say it was for the sake of fucking talking.
It's like Elder Scrolls combat.
That wouldn't bother me so much because of how often you're in cutscenes, right?
Yeah,
Like,
sure,
you know,
I guess.
a good 60% of that game is cutscenes.
Sure.
So for me, like Cyberpunk, I think I'm with you. I would rather it be a third person game, but the fact that it sounds like I'm going to be in as many cutscenes as I was in Witcher, I think that makes me a little bit like
Sure.
less
It
frustrated
also
about
it kind of worries me because like I don't like driving in first person, and I think this game is going to have a pretty big driving element. It seems like. And
do you think they would make the driving only first person?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I don't know
because I didn't think about that. Might make me not play it.
Yeah, I don't know because I hate driving in first person.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't like it.
I get enough of that in real life. Okay.
Also, like doing it in fucking not San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto
in
Online.
GTA.
Good God, that's a fucking nightmare.
Blind spots everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not as
be cool, man. Be cool.
It's not as terrifying as riding a bike and trying to escape a semi truck in first person.
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I have no clue. But again, I'm almost out. Not out because it's CD Projekt Red. I've played 1, 2, and 3 Witcher. So
I played one, but I played two.
What could they show you to draw you back in?
I don't know. Gameplay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Haven't seen anything yet, so I don't even know how the hell it plays.
Yeah.
A couple pieces of From Software news. Their upcoming Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, will release on March 22nd, 2019. And apparently it feels a lot like a fighting game. So
That's weird.
Are you down for that?
No.
Are you down for it at all?
No.
I haven't seen you like express any emotion towards it.
I honestly, I know Dark Souls is over with, but I would rather have had like Demon Souls 2 or Bloodborne 2. Yeah. That's that
Which one is this? Sekiro. This is the.
From Software.
It's the one with the guy that like loses his arm and has like a cool
Yes,
bone arm.
okay.
Yeah. The Dark Souls series is getting a 3-disc collection on PS4 and Xbox One. The Dark Souls trilogy will include Dark Souls Remastered, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, and Dark Souls 3, The Fire's Fade Edition. Bandai Namco promises that all DLC will be included in the bundle. Cool. The collection will release on October 19th, the same day as the release of Dark Souls Remaster on Switch. The collection will only release in US and Asia, and it will go for $80.
That seems expensive.
That seems quite.
I think I would have done 60,
So Dark Souls Remaster came out like a month ago.
something like that. I
Probably
don't know.
launched at like 40. I could see $80 depending on the prices of all the games, right? Like if it's cheaper for me to go out and buy each individual title outside of
Used?
the bundle, used.
Oh, but all the DLC is part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have done 60. 80 seems like a lot.
Yeah, I felt that way too, but I also was like, I don't know how much these games are.
I think everybody should play these games, but I also think From Software should have put difficulty slider in Dark Souls. I do.
really?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh, yeah.
good at Dark Souls.
That's what I,
100%
and that's
agree.
why I mean I wouldn't have changed it because I am good at Dark Souls. Like I played all of them,
Really?
including Bloodborne from start to finish.
Wow.
I love those games. I think they're fucking awesome. However, for people like you, I would have that sucks because they're really
Yeah.
cool stories. They're super cool.
I've
totally
tried
agree.
on multiple occasions to try and like play.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time.
Yeah,
I'm not good at mechanic based games, and that's what Dark Souls is. And it's like figuring out how to beat this boss.
Yeah,
and it's like,
and you know, like the argument of, well, that takes away from the whole, like, you know, I've accomplished this. It's like, it doesn't take away shit. Just don't touch the slider. Let the slider be there for Justin and Trey. You know what I mean?
I absolutely loved Bloodborne.
So good.
And Dark Souls 3. I played a lot of Dark Souls 3. I played 20 hours. This is a joke, but it's true. I played 20 hours of Dark Souls, beat the Cleric Beast, and was like, I'm
Bloodborne.
done. Oh, yeah, Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, yeah.
I played 20 hours of Dark Souls, beat the Cleric Beast, and I was done.
Bloodborne.
God fucking damn it. I played 20 hours of Bloodborne.
Very good.
Beat the Cleric Beast, and I was done. I got to the Watchers
Yeah.
in Dark Souls 3, and it was like, I'm done. Because the anxiety of having to move on from those accomplishments and knowing that I'm not very good at the game.
And knowing
like,
that it just gets harder.
yeah.
Yep.
It's like I can get but I love the customization. I love the art style. I love the worlds. I would totally love to play those games on fucking easy and just go through.
Yep.
It's the same thing with like Wolfenstein is a very hard game.
The new ones?
The new ones, yeah.
I don't think I've ever played those.
The first one, you wouldn't like them.
Yeah, I think
the first one, the first time I beat the first one, I played it on easy because it's
Yeah.
just fucking hard.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I want
It-
that option.
sure,
because
it
I
is-
just want to experience.
Right,
something.
it is okay. The sliders or difficulties are like Uncharted. What do I say about Uncharted?
Yeah, you put it on, like, Explorer
stick
mode
it on
at-
fucking,
after a certain point,
stick it on
right?
the easiest thing, and then put sticky targeting on. Just go through the damn game in 10 hours
Mm-hmm.
and experience the story because that's what it's there for.
yeah, it's just Dark Souls, especially the community is just it's a lot of gatekeepers. It's
Sure,
like, no,
yeah.
if you can't beat it, then you don't deserve.
Which
to
really
play.
sucks. Which really sucks because you've never number one, it limits sales. You've probably never bought one.
No,
Yeah,
no,
so
I
that
just
limits
played.
sales, but it also limits, dude, they're super fucking cool stories. The Dark Souls trilogy from beginning to end is filled with so many like crazy ass twists and turns that it's just so fucking cool. So when you actually accomplish the secret ending at the end of 3, you're like, wow, full circle, and it's fucking amazing. But you don't know that. You're never going to get to know that.
No,
I couldn't agree with you more. I'm so glad you said that because I've been thinking that for a while, and I'm like, I don't know if I can say this.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know if I can say that.
On the
There are
internet.
some things
yeah.
there are some things that I just distance myself from Chris about because like I'm not willing to even be close to being wrong about it. And Dark Souls is one of those things. Like I know that Chris really loves Dark Souls. I'm not gonna like get into a debate about it with him. I'm just not. And last up for From Software stuff. In an interview with VG 24/7, From Software's comms manager Yashiro Katao, I don't know.
Close enough.
Yeah, revealed that the studio is done with Dark Souls and plans on moving on to new experiences. Quote, "We plan to make a variety of different titles and fresh experiences. We're not just going to be making Shinobi games going forward. But as far as Miyazaki has said in interviews previously, the Dark Souls series is finished. That said, we do not want to keep creating...
We do want-
we
yeah.
do want to keep creating these fresh experiences and just games we want to make. So please stay tuned."
That's fine. I mean, Dark Souls 3 ended. Like, that's finished the Dark Souls series. I get that. However, I like your games. I want more Dark Souls-esque games. You know what I mean?
I hope it's just not all fresh IP. I would like to see them like go back
Another
to Bloodborne.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like
Or
to see
another
another
Demon Souls. Yeah.
Or they also did the Tenchu series.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about those games, but I know fans would really like to see another
Sure,
one.
yeah.
I just don't want them to keep doing this thing where it's like, oh, we're partnering with all these different publishers
Sure,
to
yeah.
make another Souls game because we don't have any rights to our shit. I mean, it's true. As part of the recently announced Fix PUBG campaign, the Battle Royale game will be getting a new training mode. The mode will be set on a 2x2 kilometer map and will allow 5 to 20 players to practice all the various mechanics in PUBG, from shooting to driving to throwing grenades and also parachuting. PUBG is also leaving Xbox's preview program with a full release expected on September 4th.
The various mechanics of PUBG.
Walking.
All of the crazy mechanics in PUBG. Now you can practice.
You can practice them.
Fucking
Get really
stupid,
good
whatever.
at parachuting.
Get out
They're
of here.
trying.
Get out of here. Blue Hole.
Yes, I think that's right.
Get the fuck out of here, Blue Hole. Jesus Christ. Your game's not that hard. It's a fucking shooter.
I just the idea of the Fix PUBG campaign.
What is that?
So essentially, they announced like, "Hey, we're going to be doing all these different things to
Oh,
make our
that's
game
Blue
more
Hole's
stable."
doing a Fix PUBG
Yeah.
campaign. It's
make
not
our-
an internet thing.
Nope.
Oh, I assumed this was something
I
that
did
people
too.
self-entitled.
I did
No,
too,
no, no.
yeah.
This Blue Hole is
Okay.
the one who launched
Okay.
this.
Interesting.
But it's to fix some of their mechanics. It's to make the game more stable. It's to make it run better. It's to add in more unique shit. Your game was in beta for a year.
Longer, probably.
Probably. I
Yeah.
mean, it came to my
It
attention about a
just
year ago.
Yeah, I mean, it just recently got out of
It
beta.
just
so
recently released. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And why do you need to launch a campaign to do this? It's not like Destiny. It's not like Bungie came out and was like, oh, "We're launching the Fix Destiny 2 campaign." No, like
yeah.
fuck. It's a fully released game.
They just
there's
call
nothing-
call that Forsaken.
or Taken King.
Shh, yeah.
there's nothing special about this campaign. It's like we're fixing PUBG.
Like-
we're gonna fix some bugs. We're gonna add things. It's like, oh, so you're gonna support your game?
Yeah, so you're actually
Or-
going to support your game and finish it. That sounds great. Like,
Yeah,
But
whatever.
hey, slap a fancy title on it.
Hey,
People
man.
go crazy.
I mean,
Hey,
let's
man.
be real though. Like you're going real bottom of the barrel. If
it's very true. If they're going to do a campaign, there needs to be like a beat Fortnite campaign or something. Like,
Yeah.
this is what we're going to do to win back the Battle Royale crown.
right, make PUBG great again.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Also, real fast, there is some Gamescom stuff in here. For the most part, we're just going to avoid that until next week because the convention is still going on, and I'd rather just have a topic where we collect all the news.
Got
So,
it.
listeners, if you're like, "Hey, why aren't they talking about Gamescom more?" That's why. In an interview with GameSpot, Ubisoft's Yves Guillemot said that Assassin's Creed will not be seeing a new game or spin-off in 2019.
I'm really glad we're talking about this. I got into an argument on Reddit about this.
Oh, I'm excited. Instead, the company
Why?
plans on extending the upcoming Assassin's Creed Odyssey as much as it possibly can with new DLC. The company hasn't officially announced any of the DLC content, but Eurogamer reports that the game could receive Atlantis-themed content in the future.
That sounds cool.
That does sound cool. Okay, so
Mermaids.
I'm interested to hear about your
Okay,
Reddit
so
debate.
a lot of people
They
like
never disappoint.
Like people are literally like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." They're skipping a year again with Assassin's Creed. Look what happened with Origins after they skipped a year. It was the best Assassin's Creed in the series. Oh my god! It's like, listen, I don't think you guys are understanding what Ubisoft is saying here. Ubisoft has figured out with Origins how to make a single player game last over 8 months, because they did with Origins.
Yeah.
They figured out how to get people to log into Assassin's Creed Origins every day, every week, every month. They figured it out. And now guess what? Now they're going to charge you for it. That's what this is. Like, come on, guys. Don't
think so?
don't be fucking daft. Of course they are.
How do you mean?
Don't be fucking daft. Like, sure, this is it's awesome that they're skipping another year in Assassin's Creed. Logic says skipping a year for Assassin's Creed gives you a better Assassin's Creed game. I get it. However, they're not skipping a year because they're
still
taking
producing content.
Yeah, they're not skipping a year to take time to develop another Assassin's Creed and make it good. They're skipping a year so they can charge you out the ass for Odyssey. That's
So-
why they're skipping a year. And no, I don't think people realize that. That's literally what they have said by prolonging the game with DLC, downloadable content that's not free, not in no post whatsoever that they say this DLC will be free.
I also don't think they've said it's going to be paid though.
Well, I mean, sure, but if you're going by that logic, you have to already assume that some of it might be paid.
I mean,
So-
they've done paid DLCs for the
all
games in the past,
they're
so-
all paid DLCs. Everything except literally the Division 2 is the first game that I've ever really seen in the last 5-10 years where it's like everything we do after this is going to be free.
So
whoa.
I have a counterpoint question and a question to your point. Counterpoint question is what makes you think, because Odyssey, all of the story content and single player stuff that came out after that was free, right?
Origins.
Yeah, god damn.
No.
I'm so bad at nouns.
No, it was not.
What was not free for that?
The big content releases like the Tomb of the Pharaoh stuff. There was 2 big content patches that were both paid.
And
One
you
was-
didn't play
one was-
either of them, right?
One was 20, one was like 14.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
And no, I did not. There were things though to log in and do without paying for stuff. Like Assassin's Creed Origins had this really cool thing where you ended up fighting Egyptian gods. And every week there was a different Egyptian god, and they would drop specific weapons and armor
Okay.
every week. So they gave you a reason to go log in and play.
Yeah.
There were like daily things you could go do to get more to get more loot and stuff like that. They basically turned the single player RPG into an MMO, but still single player.
So I guess to my question, multi-part question. Do you think the way that they handled it with Origins was bad?
Nope.
So do you assume it's going to be different than Origins? Then?
No, I think it's going to be the same, but people don't need to be praising. The reason for praising is not the reason they're doing this. That was my whole argument on Reddit. Like, you guys are praising Ubisoft, and you know what? That's fine, but they're not skipping a year to make the next Assassin's Creed better. They're skipping a year so they can give everybody 2 years of paid Assassin's Creed content where you just have to keep paying for it.
It sounds
and
like
that's not bad.
It sounds like to me what happened was they had 2 studios that were working on 2 Assassin's Creed games, and it just so happened to line up that they could do 2017 and 2018.
Sure, possibly, but
and now that the Origins team is working on the next Assassin's Creed, and that's just why there's a gap.
yeah, sure, possibly.
So,
But again, like I think that's a really positive outlook. But it's Ubisoft. It's like Ubisoft and EA. What's their bottom line? That's all they really care about. So, and they did with Origins. They figured out a way to make a single player, roughly 40 to 60 hour experience last for 8 months. They figured it out because people still log into Origins still, and it's been over a year since it's come out. About a year. I don't remember when it came out.
it came out in October. or
October, so
November.
almost a
I think
year.
in November, right?
Yes, almost a year. Yeah. So, but people are still logging into Origins daily and weekly to do these weekly things. They figured out how to make it work. So now they're giving themselves 2 years to have this. You have an entirety of 2019 and the entirety of 2020 to really, quote unquote, milk the Assassin's Creed players.
So to your point though, like let's assume that let's just assume that like the worst case scenario of this is happening. I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And here's why. Dragon Age Inquisition is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of the best games BioWare has ever made. It has one of the best stories in a game for a really long time. I was disappointed with the DLC for that game. Even though I liked the last DLC pack, one of my problems was it was just so disconnected from the things that you were doing, with the exception of the last one.
Yeah.
But also the production quality was a lot lower.
Of the Dragon Age DLCs.
Even for the
I
last
agree.
one, it's like the cutscenes didn't look great.
Yeah.
Some of the dialogue was weird. They kind of had to work around certain systems in order to like make it a little bit cheaper. I would love to have a future where I buy Dragon Age Inquisition 2 and you have that game for 3 years. You tell me one story, but you're consistently updating it for free or with paid content.
Sure.
As long as the production quality justifies the amount of money that I'm spending and the amount of time that I'm spending. That's the future that I want.
You apply the MMO formula.
Yep.
To single player games, and again, like where you're agree.
Yeah.
I don't think this is bad. I do not think that a 2 year Assassin's Creed Odyssey lasting for 2 years with paid content, I don't think that's bad. Because if it's good enough, which I was reading the Game Informer article, I'm a little bit more in to this than I was before. Because I enjoy kind of Greek mythology and the Spartans, but to me that wasn't Assassin's Creed.
Because it didn't look like Assassin's Creed.
Sure, but then we got the new Game Informer, and I was flipping through the pages like, holy shit! Some of the armor is like it's Assassin's Creed. Like
really?
I see it.
It's not like the clunky
exactly. Like
gladiator type of
I
stuff.
see it. I see it evolving, and so I'm a little bit more in. And again, if it's good enough, I'll give money. I'll spend $200 on Marvel Heroes. Are you kidding me? I'll give you money if it's good enough.
You're just against internet praising.
Right, they're
them
not. They're
for-
praising Ubisoft for something that they're not. That they didn't do. That's not the reason they're doing this.
Yeah.
That's all.
I also think too, like you weren't really into Origins for a really long time. When you picked
I
up,
did get it a lot later, didn't I?
when you picked up Origins, it was actually a big surprise. Like I walked in the door and you were playing Origins,
Yeah.
and I was like,
But that was also because
fuck
you were
happened?
really tied up into Destiny.
I don't think that was the case.
No.
I don't think he was. I
No?
just don't think you were very excited for it.
I wasn't. I just don't. I don't
Really?
like.
I thought you were. I don't know.
I enjoy the storytelling aspects of it, how like and everything's. But what dragged me into Assassin's Creed in the first place was the fact that this dude's walking around with this really fucking cool white robe, and he's like super stealthy, and like I love the aesthetic of Assassin's Creed. That's just it's one of my favorite games aesthetically, and with Origins and even this one, it's like this dude's walking around in clunky fucking Spartan armor. That dude doesn't even look like a fucking assassin. What's going on here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Also, like you don't have a hidden blade anymore, at least from what I understand.
you have like a broken sword.
You have a magical spear.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah, it's
And so you kind of have like
yeah.
magic powers where you can like teleport forward and shit. It's like
or like Spartan kick people.
yeah, it's like
super
this,
hard.
right? Like so,
Well, I was surprised at E3 because of they made it very clear that like the pieces of Eden are a big part of the story.
yes,
And
which
that's
is
something
cool.
you talk about all the time. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, Chris is going to be sold on this. And then when they finished that section, you're like, eh.
Yeah, and like cool, but like I don't want a piece of Eden. I understand how good they are, but I don't want it. I do not want the spear. It's supposed to be the spear that pierced Jesus.
Yeah.
I do not want that spear because I know what the pieces of Eden can do. It just makes you super powerful, and that's not Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Assassin's Creed is planning an attack route to get in and fucking assassinate
You're
somebody
a,
in one thing
You're
and
a
get the hell
normal
back
guy
out.
with cool weapons.
Yes, whatever. It's fine. I'm a little bit more in because of the aesthetically. I saw some stuff in Game Informer, but I don't. I definitely won't be picking it up.
Did you see
in
the
October.
trailer with Medusa? Looked pretty.
Yes,
It looked
yeah,
pretty cool.
It's cool. It's
And
good shit.
did you? I don't know if they talked about it in Game Former. They're bringing in the Shadow of Mordor kind of enemy nemesis system.
Yeah, but it's not the Nemesis system, so it's not,
not?
going to be as good. No,
What did they bring in? I thought that's
don't
what I
know.
read.
It's like it.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's not
It's
the Nemesis
the-
system
it's
because
the enemy system.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers owns the shit out of that, and they're not sharing it for shit.
Time
Or
for
Monolith, whoever that was.
Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers owns
published it.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, they own it.
This is probably my most hyped news of the week. Supermassive Games, the creators of PS4's cult hit Until Dawn, has announced a new horror anthology series, the Dark Pictures Anthology. Unlike their previous horror titles, the game will be a multi-platform launch. Each game will focus on a new cast of characters and rely heavily on the decision-based system Until Dawn centered around. The first game in the anthology series, The Man of Medan, is expected to release in 2019 and will focus on a group of divers investigating a World War II shipwreck.
All of this sounds super fucking cool, except for the multi-platform. And are we talking like? So,
It's coming on PS4, Xbox, and PC.
Got it. Read that completely wrong.
what'd you think it was?
This one will be on PS4. This one will be on
no, no.
PC. This one will be on Xbox.
that would
I would have lost my shit.
I am so
Sounds
fucking
cool.
excited about this
Yeah, that
because
sounds super cool.
Until Dawn is one of the best games on PS4. It is a game that you would not expect to
Whoa.
pick up and really enjoy. I'm sorry, one of the best exclusives on PS4. Let me put it in that context.
Yeah, I guess.
Like
it's just super cool.
If I had to make a list of top 5 off the top of my head, it would probably be number 4 or 5.
Wow.
Of like games that you can only play on PS4 that I would recommend. I
Wow.
fucking love Supermassive. I
would not have
love
guessed
Until
that.
Dawn. I just think it's fucking great, and everyone should play that game.
I agree. It's cool.
But there
watched
was
a playthrough of it, so
I
I played it.
I didn't know the relationship between Supermassive and Sony. I didn't know like what they could do, but the fact that they're like bringing this anthology series that looks almost exactly like Until
Yeah.
Dawn and telling all these,
So like,
I'm so fucking excited.
there's something horror movies do. I like slasher flicks. I like horror movies and I like slasher flicks. Those are some of my favorite movies. Something horror movies do that just is really cool is they start at one point in time and before they're done, they're 30 years in the future. Insidious does it. God, Insidious
Chucky.
is so good. Chucky does it. Scream did it. A lot of Wes Craven stuff. Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare on Elm Street.
I
Friday
get
the
that mixed up all the time
yeah,
too.
Friday the 13th. They all progress the same story throughout generations, which is so fucking cool. Yeah, the new It.
Even the old one.
No, the old one. What? I haven't seen the new It.
The first part of the story is when they're kids. Second part is when they're adults,
And the new It.
and the old one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yep. That's why that the TV miniseries was absurdly long.
Oh,
because
I'm not talking.
I didn't know there was a
covered-
TV
I didn't know there was a
that-
TV
so
series. The
so-
original movie, they're all just kids.
But the original movie was the TV miniseries. It took place over a course of different nights because it was so fucking long. Because like the first half focuses on the kids.
I trust
Second
you.
half focuses on
I
the
trust
adults,
you.
and
It's been a
it
long
tries
time
to be
since I've
very
seen
faithful
it.
to
Got
the
it.
book.
Okay. Anyway, horror movies do that really cool, and I'm actually really surprised that horror games haven't ever done this. This is super cool.
That's like, I mean, I really think that horror. I'm secretly a big fan of horror. I don't talk
Love
about
it.
it a lot.
Fucking love it.
But like, I think Chris is also secretly a big horror fan.
Especially slasher flicks.
Yeah, we're not going to get on here and like talk about horror movies, but it's something that we talk about privately a lot.
Yep.
And
Didn't know this.
and I really think that after Until Dawn, I became fully convinced that the best next step for horror is video games.
Sure.
And Until Dawn is
Unless it's good enough movie wise. Like there's been some really good horror movies lately.
definitely like
Yeah.
I really think that the Nun and the series that's a part of.
I don't know. I've seen previews of it. Is that part of the Witch series?
No, it's
No.
part of
Okay.
the.
I need to watch.
Annabelle
I need to watch the Witch
and
series. I need to watch those too. How come?
Conjuring.
How come they don't come on Netflix? God
Beats the
damn
fuck
it!
out of me. But like,
The Conjuring was great. I'm not a huge fan of the spinoffs.
Dude,
I thought
Conjuring's
Annabelle was
amazing.
better than both of the Conjuring movies.
I've never seen Annabelle, but that's the thing is like I refuse to go buy DVDs anymore. I just do. So just put it on fucking Netflix.
Conjuring was one of my favorites
Conjuring's
of late.
amazing.
It was
Yeah.
a great just story in general.
But
Anyways.
but like I think it's that whole thing of like it's why I don't play a lot of spooky games.
Sure.
But Until Dawn worked because it has that heavy rain style.
Yeah.
When you have agency in a game and when you're making decisions and how quickly you react to something can completely change your playthrough, like that gets you way more invested than watching
So now-
someone else make a stupid
So
decision.
now-
I
so-
loved how the decisions like actually matter.
Sure,
like
yeah.
some games talk about
So-
like, oh, the things you do matter. Like this one, you'd get a completely different ending just based on one decision.
So fast forward 10 years, and this comes out as a trilogy. It's Until Dawn already has what, like 6, 7 endings, something like that.
It has a
It's got a few. It's got a pretty damn
right
good
around there,
amount.
6 or
Yeah.
7.
So you have 6 or 7 endings, and this is taking the Detroit path. The next game probably will load your old save, and then the game could start completely different than like Dead Man Walking whatever 2. I put it in and you start it. Our beginning sequences probably are completely different because of our old game saves. Like that's really fucking
Or
cool.
if they have like an interlocking continuity and it's
Sure.
like, I'm looking at your game save, this character survived.
Yeah.
And so you get to see a fucked
Sure,
up version
yeah,
of this
yeah,
character
yeah.
in your playthrough.
It's really fucking cool, man. This is a great idea. So, in other words, 10 years down the line, you have all 3 games out. All 4 of us start at point A and finally get to point Z. It's like our point Z's after 3 games could be. I mean, they will be completely different. And that's really cool.
And I also
really fucking cool.
I also think too that like Heavy Rain and Quantic Dream, like those style games, I think Quantic Dream kind of made that genre
Sure.
that created Walking Dead
Yeah.
and Life is Strange and all that. But I think that Supermassive has made the most polished version of that game
Have
ever.
you played Detroit yet?
Not yet. I'm going
Okay,
to.
okay.
But part of my thing with Detroit is that I have a hard time justifying buying it $60 because it's a very buggy game.
Sure.
And same way that Heavy Rain and
Yeah.
that other one that they made was Beyond Two
Indigo
Souls.
Prophecy.
Indigo Prophecy, yes,
was a
but Beyond
great
Two
game.
Souls was the one I was thinking of. But Supermassive with Until Dawn, it was so much more polished than any of the Quantic Dreams I've ever
Plus
been.
Hayden Panettiere's in it.
Yep.
And which one?
And Until Dawn.
Oh,
Yeah, the chick from the
plays
cheerleader.
Yeah.
The cheerleader from Heroes
Primary
is in
character.
it. Yep.
But yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. After being delayed to the second half of 2017 and later being delayed to 2019, Shenmue 3 finally has a release date. Deep Silver announced that fans can expect to play the long-awaited sequel on August 27th, 2019.
That's 3 years ago at E3 they did that. Get out of
4,
here.
2015.
Get the hell out of here.
Also,
Take that $2 million and make a fucking game that you raised. Like, get the hell out of here.
$2 million that you raised on Kickstarter,
Yeah.
most funded game on Kickstarter
Yeah.
ever, and then you sign to a fucking publisher because
get
you're a
the,
sellout.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
I know that I don't actually believe that, but it still makes me mad when I think about Shenmue.
It is. It's fucking dumb.
It's silly to me. It
Mm-hmm.
would kind of be the same like if Obsidian did all this stuff for Pillars of Eternity 2 and then signed on with EA to
Yep.
publish the game.
Yep.
I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
So what did they
fucking
use
dumb.
that money for?
I mean,
develop. I
game.
mean, to development, but like you made $2 million. I mean, I don't know how much game development. I know like Destiny 2 apparently costs over $25 million to develop. But so I don't know how much game development costs. But dude, tell me $2 million is a lot of money.
Most of that went
But,
to
like,
voice
Yeah,
actors.
good call.
Like, let's be real for a second. This is a problem. We've talked about this before. I firmly believe that this is a problem with all of these like Japanese visionaries. They are brilliant people. They are awesome, brilliant people, but they do not work on a fucking budget
Can you imagine,
or on a schedule.
Can
Like,
you
look at
imagine?
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Can you imagine how much? I was gonna say 2 games that come to mind. Can you imagine how much the development of Kingdom Hearts 3 has been? And can you also imagine how much Death Stranding's development costs is and will be?
Death
I
Stranding?
can't imagine. I
Death
literally
Stranding-
can't imagine.
I would go out saying that it was probably around like, what was Destiny 2?
25 million.
I would say at least 30 million.
No, for
No,
Death Stranding,
no way.
I
mean-
would say I'd push like 50 to 60 million dollars.
Maybe it's at 30 million right now.
Dude, it's Norman. Dude, they
That's
have
true.
Norman
That's
Reedus.
true.
What's that
Mads,
French?
Mads
Mads Mikkelsen, that French actress that got Leia Sado. They have dudes. Norman Reedus gets paid over $1 million an episode for Walking Dead. Do you think he's doing fucking Death Stranding for less than that? Give me a fucking break, dude.
Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus strikes me as somebody who would do really weird shit for just nothing.
No, there's no way.
But,
There's
like-
no fucking way.
But yeah,
He's like, give me a sandwich and I'll do it.
you have Death Stranding. You have
a sandwich of $1 million bills.
Last Guardian. You have Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
You have Shenmue. You have Kingdom Hearts 3. And I'm sure there are tons of other Japanese titles that have been being worked on for forever. I really believe that this is a problem with Eastern development.
Yeah.
It's just that is what happens. And it's not good or bad because I think that like the quality of something like Kingdom Hearts 3 outshines a lot of Western games, right?
Sure, yeah.
I think that maybe waiting that time is somewhat worth it. However, how are you ever going to make the money back for Kingdom Hearts 3? How are you ever going to do like that was the problem with Last Guardian. How are they ever going to make that money back?
Yeah, I don't know.
Not going to happen.
They'll break even.
And that means that you'll have to wait another 13 years for the next
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts or the next fucking
I really hope.
after this one,
I
I'm
really
not going to be
hope-
holding my breath.
I really hope there's not another Kingdom Hearts after this. I mean, sure, give me my little spin-offs and stuff, but a main line, I hope this is the last one. I can't wait another 11 years, well, 12 years. Dude, in 12 years, I will be 47 years old. I can't be waiting for fucking Kingdom Hearts.
You'll be
Give me a fucking break,
pooping
man.
your pants. I don't know what you do at 47.
47. How old do
That
you think
is-
47 is? Good Lord.
It's ancient.
Jesus Christ.
After the cancellation of BioWare's Shadow Realms, a team of developers who previously worked on the canceled title and Star Wars: The Old Republic left the studio and founded QC Games. Earlier this week, the studio finally announced their new action 4v1 RPG, Breach. The new title takes place in a science fiction, high fantasy, and cyberpunk mashup setting. 4 players play as highly customizable classes that aim to complete missions in a 15-minute dungeon crawl. A 5th player takes the role of the Veil Demon, an omnipresent dungeon master type deity who can lay traps, set obstacles, and personally possess and control the monsters in the corridors. The idea, says game director Gabe, I'm not even going to try, is to create. And also, with the amount of syllables in that last name, it might be. I'm not even going to try.
Martingello.
Yeah, something like
That sounds
that.
about right.
Is to create an arena that feels different each and every time you play. I added the each part. The game will launch in paid early access on Steam later this year and will move to free to play in 2019 after its full launch.
Poor guys.
This is, I mean, for those of you that were disappointed about Shadow Realms not existing, this is probably the closest you're ever going to get to that.
Shadow Realms looked cool.
It did look cool. I just
Fable Legends looked cool. No, it wasn't Legends. That's the card game.
I was going to say Fable Legends did not.
what was it? Fable.
Fable,
The one that actually came out?
no, the 4v1 one.
Oh.
Just keep talking.
So yeah, I feel bad for QC Games. I feel bad for Gabe Amontelagilo, whatever his name is.
Yep.
Because he's got this thing in his head that 4v1 still works and that it's going to work, but it doesn't work.
This Fable Legends.
Fable Legends. What's the card game called?
No, that's I actually I don't know.
I think Fable Legends is the card game.
No, I don't
no,
think.
it's
He
not.
just looked it up. Did you tell him
Fable
the internet's
Legends.
wrong?
Yes.
The internet's never wrong. I just 4v1
Fable
does,
Fortune.
Fable Fortune. 4v1 doesn't work.
You Justin.
4v1 doesn't work. It just doesn't. It does not work.
But I mean, like, just I know descriptions are supposed to be, sensational. Like, this sounds cool.
Sure.
So,
it
like-
sounds neat, but 4v1 doesn't work.
I would recommend.
It just doesn't.
I would recommend watching the trailer.
I'm sure it looks cool.
It does look very cool, but it also looks cool in a way that like Fable Legends didn't. Like,
Okay.
We saw so many trailers for Fable Legends, and I was never convinced.
Sure.
I think the fact that you have a team of indie developers that have gone and chosen to develop this game gives me a little bit more hope about it.
Sure.
I also think that just the art style and the way that the classes seem to work, it just. I will play it, especially since it's free to play. I will give it a shot.
Oh, is it free to play?
It is free- it's
Oh,
moving to
yeah,
free to play in
100% give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot, but I'm a little bit more convinced in this case.
The problem is that we've talked about this before. Is taking a full D&D tabletop experience and putting it into a video game is really fucking hard. It just is.
Yeah.
The taking player agency and everything out of it. It takes, weeks to prepare campaigns as a dungeon master. And if this veal demon jumps in here, like, sure, you can control all these things, but you're going up against 4 people. If you are not a highly skilled player against 4 really good players, it's like, you don't really stand a chance.
Well-
Turtle Rock.
Evolve.
Evolve. Evolve did a fairly good job, but it was really limited. It was really limited because you had 4 characters that basically did the exact same thing. So as the monster, you knew what you were going up against. And something like this with highly customizable classes, man, just jumping into a random game, it's really hard to prepare against 4 people that could be, the ultimate
So,
team. I'm a little worried about
I think,
something like that.
I think it can work well, though, just based on the description. I haven't watched the trailer. It describes itself as a dungeon crawl. So it's not linear, but there's a little bit more restrictions on it.
Sure, maybe.
So that way,
It looks a little bit more like you have kind of like these dungeons that are kind of set up. The Veilmaster has some time to add in some extra stuff, but most of the creatures and things that you set up act on their own independent AI. So like and one of the things that you see is like this massive like looking like owl demon thing.
Sure.
And you can choose to control that as a Veilmaster, but it should have competent enough AI that it
Sure.
can go on the players on its own while you're controlling different elements or setting up different traps.
And
stuff.
what's the end game? Because that was my question for Fable Legends too. Is what's the end game?
It sounds like character progression is the end game.
No, I'm sorry. No. I don't mean end game as in the video game term of end game. What's the end game for this? Like, so as a dungeon master, my end game is never to kill the players. Does that make sense? The end game for a dungeon master is to create a really great, memorable experience for the players to progress in.
Yeah.
Is that what this is too?
no,
It
like,
sounds-
because
so
you're not
then
necessarily
what-
the
it
dungeon
doesn't
master.
sound like-
You're a veil.
Sure, but then
you're
what's
the veil demon.
Sure, then what's the point of being the veil demon?
It
Kill
sounds. I mean, there's probably some progression for the Veil Demon. I would guess that like your tool set probably goes larger.
Okay.
But I also think that it's somewhat adversarial, but not necessarily completely adversarial.
Sure.
Like I think that if the players, this is just me speculating.
Sure.
But if the players complete the dungeon, I don't think it necessarily matters that you lost. It more matters like, what did they go through to get there? How hard did you make this? And that might determine your rewards.
Well, that's kind of how games like Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight, these games like where it is 4v1.
And they don't work.
Well, I mean,
Dead by Daylight doesn't work. Does not work.
How so?
100% in the monster's favor. Always. Does not work.
I mean, yes, but there's ways to win.
No, yeah, but if you were to sit down and play Dead by Daylight right now, 20 matches, 18 out of those 20 you would lose as a human.
I mean, think about
I guess, but the thing is,
and that's not okay.
think about
I
it
was
like
more so
this,
talking
though.
about like the like leveling up, basically. Like as a monster, you get or as the Veil Demon, you would unlock more traps, more cool things.
Sure, but that,
as classes, you.
But
could
that's the thing is,
upgrade your
from
stuff too.
from a balance issue, you run into that fact. It's like, okay, it's one dude going up against 4 people,
Mm-hmm.
so we have to make the one guy overpowered. It has to be, but you have that balance that you have to strike where it's like, is it too overpowered? Is it not overpowered? Like, where is it at? Friday the 13th, Dead by Daylight, it all runs into that same problem where it always favors the one because you have to. That's the worst part about it.
The way that the developer talked about it is it seems slanted in the same way that D&D is slanted towards the DM, right? You have a certain amount of control that the average player doesn't have, so you can affect things differently. Essentially, if the DM wanted to, he could sit down on the table and be a total asshole.
Sure,
Because
but that's a bad DM.
yeah. But I think that that's the point of this, is that it's not, you obviously want to present a challenge to the players and you want to make it difficult for them to succeed, but
do you want
don't
them to
wanna-
succeed?
but
That's
you-
my
I
that's
think
my
you do want them
question.
to
As a
succeed.
Veil Demon, do you want that 4 people to succeed in whatever you're
That's what it
putting
sounds
up?
like from the interviews and stuff that I've read.
Interesting.
It sounds like it's that DM thing where you want it to be
That's weird.
difficult. If they lose, that's cool, but if they succeed, it's not necessarily that you lost.
I don't know,
Interesting.
the way I always think of it is just any game. Take the player aspect out of it. Now it's just 4v environment. The game is going to be geared towards you like having a difficult time, and if you
Right,
lose,
but
you lose.
No. The games as a 4v environment, the game is never ever geared to where players lose all the time. That's not how that works.
No, it's not going to be geared towards.
There's
you lose all
always
the
a way
time,
to
but-
win. Always.
Yes. And
And
in
if you're-
4v1
if you're-
games, there's
If you're but that's the thing, is like that you're making a game where it's very possible that the 4 can never win, and that's not okay.
The reality of what you want when you're making any sort of competitive game is that you want to be as close to 50-50 as possible.
Yes.
So imagine that an Overwatch map gets released and defenders only have a 30% chance of winning statistically across every match that's been played on that map. Blizzard would say, this is a broken map.
Yeah.
We need to fix it. That's the problem that a lot of these 4v1 games have, is it's not saying that they're not fun. It's like in Evolve, as a monster, you were probably going to die.
Sure.
And in Dead by Daylight, as a camper, you were probably going to
Yeah.
die. You were probably not going to succeed in either of those games. And if it's slanted one way or the other,
And that's-
some players don't mind that.
Sure.
But you want it to be as close as 50-50 to 50-50 as possible.
Unless you set up the expectation that as the Veil Demon or whatever they call it, your job is to make this as entertaining as possible. Your job is not to beat the 4. That is not your job in this. Your job is to make this dungeon as best as you can make it, and depending on how many things they get hung up on, blah 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 blah, you can even take control of this. That gives you your progression. However, your end goal is to make this dungeon fun, not to stifle players.
And that's
That'd
what
be-
it
I mean,
sounds
that'd be-
like to me.
Then
From what I've read, that's what it sounds like.
I would be more into playing the Veil Demon then, because that's fun. That's awesome. Me sitting down when I have time and setting up EOS for you guys, that is a shit ton of fun, because it's fun making that for you guys. I can't wait for you guys to do some of the things, but in no way, shape, or form am I sitting down. It's like, okay, this is where they fucking die.
But you're
right
also,
here.
But we've also talked about this before. Like, it's not going to be a walk in the park. There,
Of
it's
course
the thing
not.
that you've talked about. Like, once you get your 9th level spells, you can't just get Wish.
Of course not,
You,
right.
you can't just get it. That's
Right.
just the reality.
Right.
So as the DM, like, you are making a fun experience for us, but you're also creating a challenge.
Sure.
And if we fail at that challenge, as long as you see it, as long as the table can sit down and say, like, that was fair.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're just fucking killing my character because you hate him.
Exactly.
As long as it's fair, that's where the fun comes from.
Right, and that's
you don't
where,
want it to be easy.
And that's where, like, a 4v1, especially like a dungeon crawl, like I have a hard time understanding how that whole thing works when, I just want to sign in with the 4 of you guys and go through a dungeon and have fun. I don't want to get into one of these things and just, this guy has made it utterly impossible to finish. Like,
Yeah.
that does not sound good to me.
that'd be yeah.
It just
I don't know
sucks.
how
That
you're going to balance
sucks.
that out.
Yeah.
I think
Especially because they point out that it has to be it's a 15-minute round or a 15-minute match or whatever.
Right. So, like, if I can't win in 15 minutes, like, because this person has made it utterly impossible, like, that's not cool, man. It's not cool at all.
Well, I know there are
So-
some games where, like, the idea of it's like you build a map and each player has to go through it. If nobody goes through it, then nobody gets points. So maybe that'll be like this. Like, maybe it's like if it is ruled that this is impossible to beat, then maybe the Veil Demon doesn't get points.
Maybe.
either. Something
Yeah.
like that.
next up, let's get through this one fairly quickly, but give it its full shake. My favorite monthly segment, NPDs with Trey, but everything's with Trey now, so it's not special anymore. The top 10 best-selling games for the month of July are as follows. Number 10,
This is extremely surprising.
Mario Tennis Aces, with no digital sales. Number 9, Rainbow Six Siege. Number 8, The Crew 2. Number 7, Super Mario Odyssey, no digital sales. In fact, all the Nintendo games, I say, have no digital sales. Number 6, Far Cry 5. Number 5, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Number 4, Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy. Number 3, Mario 8 Deluxe. number 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, and number 1, Octopath Traveler. Some general notes about our NPDs. Gaming revenue is up 14% compared to July 2017. Year-to-date spending across video game hardware. Oh, this is a quote from Matt Piscatella. Year-to-date spending across video game hardware, software, accessories, and game cards is up 17% when compared to the same period a year ago to $6.8 billion. Growth has occurred across all categories of spending, with accessories and game cards driving the largest dollar growth. And by game cards, I think he means like PlayStation points.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay.
Let me read the software stuff, and then we can take a small break to talk about software. As far as software goes, Octopath Traveler, this is another quote from Piscatella. Octopath Traveler was the best-selling game of July 2018. Half of July's top 10 bestsellers are Nintendo platform exclusives. Quote again, Nintendo is the top-selling full game software publisher for both July and year-to-date. Nintendo Switch is the only platform showing year-on-year growth in full game dollar sales, with gains of nearly 70% when compared to a year ago. Despite digital sales on Nintendo platforms not currently being tracked by the NPD group, year-to-date sales of full game software on Nintendo Switch have more than doubled when compared to a year ago. That's...
I thought you were gonna keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna. I realized I should probably pause so that we can hit each of these points individually. I mean, I was surprised when I opened up NPDs and saw
I don't
5 Switch games on there.
I don't
That's
understand
crazy.
how Octopath Traveler is sold that much.
Because it had
Physical.
It was going
All
up
physical.
against nothing.
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
it.
No, sure, yeah,
We know it shipped 1 million units.
sure. And I would. So that's what I was gonna say. NPDs are real low. There's no way Octopath Traveler sold more than 1 million units. There's just no way. It's if they shipped a
I think
million
they
units, they
shipped
did
more-
not.
I think they
did not
shipped more than 1 million units.
Okay, I still have a real. It's close. Don't get me wrong. I think it probably sold really well, and I think the fucking weeaboos backing it hard on the internet when it launched definitely helped.
Well, there was a
but
problem
if
with
it
it
reached
selling
if
out
it,
too,
if it
right?
reached a million, I
Physical copies.
yeah, if it reached a million, I'd be a little surprised, not super surprised, but I'd be a little surprised.
I think that it had 2 things going for it. A, there was nothing for it to go up against. It was
Literally
July.
nothing.
There was nothing. Nothing comes out in July. I think the next point is that the Switch is insanely popular, and it's going to be one of those things where all exclusives on the Switch are going to sell well,
Sure.
because especially with the Switch, because there's not a lot of exclusives that are coming out all the time.
I also saw a lot of advertising for this, like just on social media and everything.
I did
I've seen
not.
I've seen a lot of.
I didn't
I,
know
Octopath
that.
I did
Traveler.
not. I
Really?
mean, I saw a ton of fucking weeaboos go crazy.
Yeah,
over
I saw
it.
people
That's what
talking
I saw
about it
yeah.
after it launched, and I know people were talking about it before it launched, but I didn't see a lot of like, go buy Octopath Traveler.
Really?
This is Nintendo. We want you to
Yeah.
buy our shit. Man, but I mean, again, it was a slow month, so
A really slow month.
But I do think it's just impressive that half the games on that list are Nintendo games.
Sure.
Even in a slow month, that's great. And I know that the argument is like, oh, Trey, this doesn't mean anything because it was a slow month. However,
I don't
even
think
even in a slow month, the slowest months ever, you didn't ever see something like this from the Wii U.
Yep.
And that's a good positive trend upwards.
Sure, but you did see this in the Wii.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's the issue, right? Is like not counterpoint, but like your little counterpoint you gave to yourself. It rings true. However,
which is more comparable.
yeah, which is more comparable.
Well, I mean,
exactly.
you
Like,
know-
the Switch is doing great, and that's amazing. Like I think Nintendo's it's a great fucking system. Should be doing well. However, again, it doesn't have anything to go up against. Come September, like holy shit, PlayStation. I mean, PlayStation's going to take all this year. They just are.
I mean,
Like I hate to say it.
the
I mean, I don't hate to say it. I'm glad. I guarantee PlayStation's going to take this entire fall season.
So, will PlayStation probably take this full season? Yes. And I talk about that. Well, Piscatella talks about that a little bit later. I included it in the notes. Will PlayStation probably take this year? Yeah, but Sony has come out and said like, hey, after this year, sales of our hardware is going to drop significantly. Software will still do pretty well, but that puts Nintendo in a good place to kind of overtake hardware.
Sure, of
next
course,
year.
especially up until 2020.
Yeah.
Nintendo's got full reign all through 2019.
Yeah, they have basically
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
3 years, assuming that
Yeah.
the console comes out late 2021.
Right, exactly. Which is why Nintendo releasing mid-cycle is always a good idea.
Yeah.
But
But kind of falling off my point just a little bit, like, we 2 years ago, everyone was like, Nintendo's going to fail on their next console and they're going to become Sega. And that obviously is not going to happen. And that's good.
It might.
Shit. Never say never. It's a post-Rage 2 world.
It's true.
GTA 5 had a strong performance this month, thanks in large part to its newly released GTA Online Premium Edition for $60 in April. It was the best-selling game on both Xbox One and PS4.
God fucking damn it. Stop buying this game, guys.
amazing.
Jesus Christ.
It's amazing.
That game will never die.
Who?
And Red
Who
Dead's not
doesn't own it?
Red Dead's not going to do it either because I more so firmly in the corner that Red Dead Online is not going to be
I
I agree.
a thing.
I think if they pull the same thing that GTA 5 did, right? If they launch on PC and then a year after that they launch on PS5 and Xbox
Sure,
Square,
of course. Yep.
you know, I think that it would have a chance then, but
Yep.
For Red Dead?
I think for Red Dead, if they launch it on 5 consoles like they did,
Oh yes.
like they did with GTA 5, I think it has
Yes.
a chance, but
I don't think so. I don't know. I think
what's a chance? What are we talking about?
they
here?
have a chance to do as well in sales as GTA 5.
I don't know about that one.
I think GTA 5 just
100
hits,
million units? No.
GTA
There's no
5
way.
just hits the perfect note to appeal to such a large audience, and you know, like we talked about, the online GTA Online just continues to dominate, and Red Dead isn't. As it gets closer and closer to its release, I have less and less hopes for Red Dead's whatever online multiplayer thing that they might have.
We're talking chances. I'm not
Sure,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. No, I
again,
get
it
it.
probably is 70-30.
Sure, I get it.
70
Yeah,
being not in its favor.
Sure, I get
but
it. I don't think we'd ever see Red Dead sell over 50 million.
I just truly believe that GTA 5 would not be in the position where it's at today
100%
had it not launched on 3 more consoles.
100% agree.
You saw the same thing with Dragon Age Inquisition, where it sat at the top of NPDs
would-
for a while,
it
but
would
it came
be-
out on 5 systems.
It would be up there. It would definitely be in the multi-millions, but
Yeah.
it would not be at 90
It would have
million.
been still a successful game.
I agree because you have to assume like on PS3 and Xbox 360, they probably sold 25 million units just alone there, and then release on next gen hardware. Let's say another 30 to 40 million there. Then the extra 20 comes from all of us fucking jobbers buying that game multiple times
And-
because we're idiots.
And I also think too that like the important part about GTA 5 Online that we all have to remember is that it's not really good at anything.
It's just no.
It's not the best racer, not the best shooter, not the best character customizer.
It's one of the best racers. That game's fun.
Yes, but compared to a real racing
Sure,
game,
yeah, like
compared to
Forza
a
or
real
something,
shooter,
yeah.
it doesn't. It's a jack of all trades. It doesn't master anything.
Yeah.
Right.
In
It
fact,
just
it's
has
kind of
everything.
bad. It's kind of bad at a lot of things.
It's really good at just making you feel like you're creating havoc because that's what you're doing. And it's awesome.
That gameplay loop can work anywhere.
Yeah.
Like you have to remember that Red Dead Redemption Online created GTA
Yeah,
5.
no, absolutely.
Even though GTA 4 Online existed before
I
that,
agree, yeah.
it was a piss poor product, and
Yep,
and
I-
Red Dead Redemption Online was a
I
better
agree.
product.
I 100% agree.
So,
But
again,
unfortunately,
70-30,
sure.
70-30, but I think that it has a chance just
Yeah.
because of the sheer volume of the amount of places.
Sure,
it'll
yeah,
be.
I agree, but like it's not going to be Red Dead Online that does it. It'll be just Red Dead as good as that game is going to be. That won't be the online element that's selling it. I think GTA 5. I don't know. I think the online is better than the campaign. Personally, I just think I got a lot more fun out of the online experience than I did out of the campaign.
I think it comes from that being able to show your progression, right?
Yeah, sure,
You can
exactly.
buy all the property and buy all the cool cars in
Right.
GTA 5, but if you don't have anyone to show it to, it doesn't
Right.
matter.
So, and like, am I saying that a Red Dead Online is not going to exist? No, I think there'll be a Red Dead Online, but it won't be GTA 5 Online. And that's not what's going to drive Red Dead sales. I think the fact that this game, speculation is really, it seems like it's going to be Rockstar's. It's going to be a masterpiece. It looks like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be tens across the board. In 20 years, people are going to be talking about this game as being one of the best games ever made. And it looks like it's turning out on that. And I think that's what's going to make it to that point where it's like, yeah, it probably could get close to GTA 5.
Yeah.
I hope it does at least. This game looks fucking phenomenal.
Last up for software, dollars, quote, again, all these quotes are from Piscatella. Dollar sales of games rated by the ESRB as either teen or everyone have grown 22% year to date to 1.2 billion. This group of titles accounts for 44% of the overall consumer spending on full game sales tracked by the NPD group. an increase of 6 share points when compared to a year ago.
That's weird. I wonder why.
Because it's Nintendo games.
Oh, good call.
When you have more shit on the Switch and you're buying
Yep,
it, it's
you're
all E for everyone.
You're right.
As far as hardware goes, general hardware stuff, hardware spending in July 2018 grew 19% when compared to a year ago to 217 million. Games were driven by the Xbox One, Switch, and plug-and-play devices such as the NES Classic Edition. Who the fuck is still buying those?
A lot, because GameStop has them.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's
That's nice.
sure. Where were they fucking 9 months ago?
Yeah,
Like,
but,
what the fuck?
Hey, at least Nintendo got their shit together and they
I
released it.
guess.
Because old Nintendo would not have. Old Nintendo would have been like,
guess.
fuck
It's just-
you.
Walked into GameStop and saw like 20 of them on the back counter and was like, what the fuck? What?
Year-to-date hardware spending is at its highest level since 2011.
Damn.
Which is crazy to me. So that's year-to-date hardware spending.
On the back of the Switch.
But that's 2011.
Yeah.
It hasn't been as high as 2011 in spite of the fact that the new consoles came out in 2013.
It's crazy.
That's who the fuck was just like, I'm buying all the Xboxes. Like, you know what? Is that when GTA 5 came out?
2011?
No,
No, was it?
I was still in high school then.
2013, 2014 is when GTA came out.
Correct.
Let's see.
Somewhere 13, 14.
I think it came
You're
out in
right.
2012. I
Maybe-
think it came
maybe
out
12.
before.
Pretty sure it was 13.
It was 13. It came out like a month before the new consoles came out.
Yeah, because I remember I
Crazy,
got it
crazy.
on.
Never mind. But you know what
360, I
did come
think.
out in 2011? Skyrim.
Oh yeah. Good times.
Yep, that was 2011 was a good year for gaming, if I remember correctly.
2008, 2011.
Yeah.
What was 2008?
Fallout.
As far as Nintendo goes, quote, Nintendo Switch was July's best-selling hardware platform in both dollars and units sold. This is the 7th month that that Switch has led the hardware dollar sales since launching in March 2017, and the first since December 2017. Unit sales of Nintendo's hardware in July 2018 reached its highest point for a July month since 2009.
Which was the Wii.
Let's not forget about Xbox, though. It had a good month as well. In terms of dollar sales, the Xbox One platform grew by 50% year over year in July.
Not bad.
Year to date, it's up more than 60%.
I like as let's not for Xbox had a good month. Hardware sales are trending up.
I think technically,
we sold some.
We sold some.
I think the reason why they pointed that out though is that Nintendo and Xbox performed better than PS4.
Sure, yeah. Well,
which
it's because
doesn't happen a lot.
right? But it's because everybody already has a PS4.
Yeah. PS4.
I'm doing it the opposite way.
Sure, yeah.
The PS4 is still the best-selling console in 2018, and Spider-Man is expected to cement its position as the best-selling console.
It
in
is
2018.
that's what's fucking crazy is like Xbox is trending, they're up 60%, Nintendo sell blah, 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 PlayStation still the best selling console. It's like
So-
really when it comes down to the bottom line, that's really what fucking counts. But it's funny.
So going back to the Switch real fast, this is the 7th month that the Switch has led in hardware dollar sales since launching in March 2017, and the first since December 2017. Okay, I could see. I could see why Sony would still be well, because as big as Spider-Man's going to be, right? I think you're still going to run into the problem where the majority of people already own PS4s. Sure, but I also think that most people that are like Justin are probably going to be buying pre-owned if they really want to play Spider-Man.
Maybe.
Let's be real. GameStop sells a lot of consoles.
Sure, maybe.
I was just teasing Justin last week because I'm like, you were spending money stupidly.
What were you spending money on, Justin?
Nah, just getting a brand new PlayStation.
Oh, right.
No,
that's
no,
not too stupidly spending
it's more
money.
than
Of like PS4 Pro.
He talked about last week how like Xbox is still going to be like the primary place where he plays like multiplayer games.
Yeah, then why the fuck
and
are you getting a
multi-platform
PS4
games.
Pro
No,
then?
that's not. Yeah,
That is what you said.
It's a misquote.
I listened to
From
the episode
myself.
today, and I said, "Well,
You're
then you should
spending
get a
money
PS4
stupidly, yeah.
Pro.
I agree.
If you're gonna get a 4K console, you should save up and get an Xbox One X."
I just
he was like,
meant-
"But I would have play. I can't have a Spider-Man console if I don't get the Pro."
I meant more so. I'm not going to go out and rebuy Overwatch and all these games that are like Rocket League.
Justin's like, I can't see Peter Parker's bulge in the spider suit if I don't have a PS4 Pro.
Exactly. That's exactly what
but I'm not gay.
You don't need a PS4 Pro.
But I just
It's
wonder.
the bundle.
I need a PS4 Pro.
I wonder.
How about we do this? No, I hate that Spider-Man one. Never mind. I was gonna say, give me the
You're getting
Spider-Man one.
You're
I'll give
getting
you
the Kingdom Hearts one.
I know. Trey.
Is that a Pro?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
It's pretty too. I saw it. They finally released like images of it. It's real pretty.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the Destiny one,
Keep wanting to talk about something.
but it's still pretty.
Oh, I just wonder how much Pokemon and Smash Bros are going to affect Switch sales.
Oh, they're
I
gonna
don't think they're. I mean, they're going to affect them, but I guess my first thought was that Switch might have had better months in 2018, which it doesn't look like they did. So my first thought was, well, maybe Spider-Man isn't necessarily going to cement Sony in that spot.
I feel like for Smash Brothers, I feel like the people that are the majority, right? Let's not generalize. The majority already have Switches that are gonna buy Smash Brothers.
That was what I was going to say too.
But Pokemon, I think Pokemon could 100% drive Switch sales more than Smash Brothers does.
I think there's going to be a correlation, right? Like, I feel like the people that are holding out are probably going to end up buying a Switch for Pokemon first.
Sure, and
but
then-
also with the intention of getting Super Smash
Right.
Brothers. I think they're going to feed into each other. But
Sure.
I also think there are people out there that, like, it's crazy when you just look at all the upvotes and how much, like, any Super Smash Brothers Ultimate related thing, like, sits on Reddit or
Sure, and the thing is I bet
Twitter or on YouTube.
I would assume, you know what happens when we assume, but I would assume all those upvotes are coming from already Switch owners.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, I don't. I just can't see a lot of. I just can't see a lot of people who already are like, yeah, Smash Brothers that don't already have a Switch.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard for me to imagine that.
I mean, I'm one of those people.
Sure, yeah, and that's the thing is that's why I said majority. It's not
No.
everybody.
What do you?
If it's falling asleep. It's not everybody, but then again, but like if there was a game on a Nintendo console, it's going to be fucking Eevee and Pikachu
Yeah.
to drive that console this in November, because there's going to be tons of parents. I need to buy a Switch and I need Pokemon Pikachu because nobody cares about Eevee, and so Pikachu's going to sell out. I'm predicting it now.
You think so?
Oh yeah, Pikachu's going to be hard to find,
We'll see.
at least in the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have decided that if you can evolve your starter, I'm going to get Let's Go Pikachu. But if you can't, I'm going to get Eevee.
I would assume you can evolve your starter.
I don't think you
This
can.
game looks this game looks like a 80-20 Pokemon Go, 80% regular Pokemon, 20% Pokemon
Yeah.
Go. Like I think it's going to be a pretty damn good Pokemon game. It's not going to be the 2019 Pokemon that you and I are waiting for.
I don't think you'll be able to evolve your starter.
I'm guessing not, because it sounds like it's going to be like Pokemon Yellow,
Where it
you
always
couldn't
follows you.
evolve your Pikachu, which would be very disappointing for
It
me.
is very disappointing.
Because,
So I had to go get another Pikachu and just evolve that one.
yeah.
That's dumb.
But, like, Umbreon's my favorite Pokemon of all time, but you can't get Umbreon in
Wait,
Let's
really?
Go. Yeah. Umbreon's my top Pokemon.
That's weird.
And a close number 2, it's Raichu. But I also kind of hate Jolteon, Flareon, and
you are the
Vaporeon.
ultimate Pokemon weeaboo.
How am I a weeboo?
Because you like the two main Pokemon that every 12-year-old likes.
I actually
didn't like
don't
those.
think that's the case. I think that, like, younger kids are probably drawn. I think everyone loves Pikachu.
I
think everyone loves Pikachu.
You know you love Pikachu.
I don't love Pikachu.
Didn't you just
But-
get a Pikachu pop?
I didn't get a Pikachu pop. Whitney got a Pikachu pop.
But I think
there's a big difference there.
I think
sir.
everyone loves Pikachu, so that's not fair. But I don't think Pikachu is most people's favorite Pokemon.
Okay.
And then Umbreon, I think Umbreon's popular, but I also think that, like, there are so many Pokemon now. Like, I think when I was a kid, when Generation 2 came out, everyone loved Umbreon. But now that there's so many Pokemon, it's like, whatever, Umbreon's not cool.
Gollum was always my favorite. But that's just-
Gollum?
yeah, man.
Also, no one likes Raichu.
You're a weirdo,
No
dude.
one
Dude,
likes
Gollum's
Raichu.
badass.
Gollum?
Yes.
That's weird, dude. That's weird.
It's not weird.
It's weird.
cool.
My favorite Pokemon could kick your Pokemon's ass.
What's your favorite? Oh,
Hard.
Lucario.
Lucario.
Yeah. But
Dear
I
God,
Also,
a bullet punch, which is obliterate your Gollum.
no one.
Crumbles.
But if he can get an earthquake off.
Or turn into a ball and just like.
Very true. Yeah, but he can't because Lucario's fast.
But
Gollum's slow. Or turn.
well,
do,
if
I'm
he-
sorry.
if he
Do
uses a
what?
choice item.
What?
Do what? What does he do?
Turn into a ball.
And does what?
And
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
spin.
I don't think like anyone likes Raichu. I think Raichu is a very unpopular Pokemon.
I do like I like the Alolan Raichu. It's kind of cool.
I blame the original cartoon because Raichu was Lieutenant Surge's main Pokemon, and he was an ass.
I blame
He
the
was such a
fact
dick.
that Raichu
So,
was an ass.
if you look at the original sprite for Pikachu, it looks a lot like Raichu.
Sure,
like
he's fat.
like it's fat and then it has like the long tail,
Nice.
and then over time like Pikachu got like slimmer.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Raichu is that they've never updated Raichu's art, so he still looks really
still
fat.
fat, sure.
And I think people just hate fat things, and
Possibly.
which is why I relate to Raichu. Raichu is my spirit animal.
But even
like I am really cool, but my fatness detracts from all my coolness.
even in the show though, Raichu's like voice is really douchey too. He's like, Raichu. It's like, all right, calm down.
So they did a real fast before we move on to our topic. They did a.
How long have we been going, Ev?
Almost 2 hours.
I want to save that topic, dude.
I really want to talk. We don't have to talk about it too long. They did a fucking Raikou story, and that featured like
Raichu.
Raikou.
Oh, Raikou.
It featured the main characters from Silver and Crystal. And there was a Raichu in that was super slim and looked really cool, and it was kind of little. And it's like all Raichu should be drawn like that. Topic of the week. We'll be fast, I promise. My goal is to be done by 5:30.
I'm hungry.
I heard that.
Did you pick that up?
So there was this recent controversy, mostly started by Polygon. I think Polygon is really the only person that I've seen that's really, or website that's ran with this. Ninja, Fortnite streamer, recently said on a stream that he won't play games with and stream with other female streamers. Later, Polygon asked him about it, and he basically said, I don't want to play with other female streamers because I don't want people to call my marriage into question or to assume that I'm with someone. I don't want to create any strife between my marriage. And I want to say real fast that in the pre-conversation that we had, it kind of seemed like I was judging Ninja, and I just want to make it perfectly clear that I think everyone in this room respects his choices. I'm not saying Ninja should do anything differently. I just want to explore this subject because I think it's kind of silly. But I thought it'd be really interesting to talk about it with you two, because you both are in pretty committed relationships, and you both are straight people. And we talked a little bit about gay privilege, right? Like
Perks.
I can
They're
hang out
perks.
with chicks.
I wouldn't call it privilege. Let's call it a perk.
I don't like that word, gay privilege.
But there's not very many of gay. There's not a lot of gay privilege, but that's one of the things. But I can hang out with a chick and it not be weird, or people not assume the weird thing.
Yeah, I think it's people won't assume it.
But I just thought it would be really interesting to sit down and talk with you guys who are two people in committed relationships, and are straight. I just want to see what you guys think about this. So, is it weird for streamers to not play games with other heterosexual members of the opposite sex?
Well, so and we kind of talked about this earlier, so it's hard to talk about it and remember what I said earlier and not go on to something different. I think it's based on your relationship. You know, if Ninja, and I apologize, I don't know his real name off the top of my head.
Something Belvins.
Tyler.
Tyler Belvins.
Is it Tyler?
Sure. He seems like a Tyler.
I want to call him by his real name.
Keep talking.
Not Ninja. But so he knows his relationship and his marriage and his wife better than anybody else would.
At least he should.
I would hope.
Actually, Tyler Blevins.
Oh,
Okay.
dude.
Good call.
He
very
seems
close.
like a fucking Tyler. What
Yeah.
a douche.
All right. Well, jeez. Well, Tyler, I'm sure knows his wife and his relationship better than anyone else. If he feels like, just avoiding these awkward situations or rumors, if he feels like that's going to help his relationship, or even not even help it, just not cause problems, then, I think that's his call. And he even afterwards came out and said, like, this in no way is me being sexist, and I'm not trying to put anything against female streamers. It's just not something that I want to have to deal with, basically.
I do want to take out, just for the sake of this conversation, like I said at the beginning, I think that we can all admit that this is a choice that anyone can make, and we respect that choice. We're not trying to change his mind or anything. But I do kind of want to take like the choice part out of the conversation, because that's not, I don't think anyone's calling that into question.
I think some people are.
I
The,
think-
the internet definitely is.
Yeah, the internet is, but I don't think
Polygons
we are.
might have also too. No, we are definitely not.
You shouldn't have to play games with anyone you don't want to play with.
Right.
Regardless of the reasons.
Right.
It's just how it is.
Right.
I think about it in this case, right? like, we don't know a lot of females that kind of are at the same level that we are that are in the industry. But Sarah Lisi, who is a big fan, or not fan, but we've worked with her before. She promotes our stuff. She's very good to us.
Yep.
She streams. I just can't imagine, like, if she came to Chris and was like, hey, I want to work on this project, Chris would be like, I can't because it's weird for my girlfriend.
Sure.
It just seems odd to me. It seems...
I think again. And I think let me preface it with this: in no way, shape, or form am I defending this guy at all. I don't think I think I am 100% pro-choice. Anything somebody wants to do as a choice, they can do. I don't care. Whatever you want to do. This is a fucking free ass country. Is as free as it can be. Maybe not so much
Usually,
anymore.
sometimes.
Sure. But whatever your choice is, you shouldn't be ridiculed for your choice. And that goes into a lot of things. It's like, even, hey man, if you're a Trump supporter, that's your choice. I'm not going to fucking throw tomatoes at you or freaking, ridicule you for it. That's your choice. Whatever. Do I agree with it? Absolutely not. Do I think you're a fucking Nazi? Probably. But I'm not going to freaking, like I said, throw tomatoes at you. So what I'm about to say, I'm not coming at this from a judging angle or anything like that. However, we had a conversation beforehand, and I said, this seems like a very Christian moral standpoint that somebody takes. Coming from, I've played in worship teams for, 20 years probably, and not holding those beliefs, but still being in those, I don't want to say circles, but like being
Communities.
in communities. I've seen this. I see this all the time. I see it consistently where pastors of churches will emphasize the fact that a man hanging out with somebody that is not his wife could be sinful. And I think a lot of these things that get put into people's mind, I think that's where he's coming from. He's coming from we looked it up earlier, and yes, we found out through the internet that Ninja, quote unquote, believes in God, right?
His own words.
Right. That doesn't necessarily mean that he goes to church every Sunday. That doesn't mean he's volunteering at his local youth group. He's not holding Bible studies. However, if that is something that is a part of his life, then this is a moral choice that he has made. And, like I said before, we don't get to criticize him for that. Now, like, choice aside, man, I think he should do it because he has such a huge following that's something where I 100% agree with, like with Trey and the Polygon, some of the internet, not the douchey internet guys, but the people that have the point.
Very small percentage.
Yeah, we are always working toward equality. And on both sides. I'm not just talking about female equality because I think, my own personal opinion, it's swayed certain ways. There's definitely things females can get away with as males can't, blah, 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 all this other stuff. However, just equality in general, especially in the video game industry, it's not there, man. You know what I mean? It's just not. So like, perfect example is playing WoW the other day. I was playing this random dungeon, and after the dungeon was over with, somebody goes, "Hey, thanks for the group, guys." And then somebody came in and there was like, not all people who play WoW are just guys. It's like, whoa. I think it was just a generalization like, hey,
guys
thanks.
is gender neutral.
Yeah, like, thanks for the group. I wasn't fucking, implying that it was just nothing but dudes.
Thanks for the group, people.
Yeah, so, but that kind of like backs the point is like gender equality is not there, and especially from a female perspective, they don't feel like, I'm sorry to say they, that may be generalizing, but they don't feel like as a sex they have the equality that men do in the gaming industry.
Well, especially whenever it comes to streamers as well.
Sure, of course.
I know plenty of girls who stream who are funny, they're good at games. They don't have a large following because they're not one of these, not nude, but like revealing streamers.
Yeah. And so I think personally that it's something that should be considered, especially when you have 30,000 people watching a stream of you. Yeah, man, support somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, lift that person up. I don't see why. I think we're all here. We don't see why it's a huge problem. However, I do understand where he's coming from.
Well,
If that makes sense.
And I think, and I kind of talked about this earlier too, how I personally, not in a very long time, or not that I can think of, have put myself into a situation where it's just me and a girl that I'm not like with, like it's not me and Bree, you know, just spending like one-on-one time together. And I was thinking about it more, and I was like, well, you know, Ninja, if he's streaming with this girl, sure, it's just them two streaming, but it's also a very public thing. You know, it's not like if his wife was concerned, she could easily tune into the stream and see like, hey, you're kind of flirting with her, or you're kind of doing stuff that I'm not comfortable with, like not just based on rumors that is, you know, going around the internet. You know, she can kind of make her own judgment on that.
Well, I mean, but like you look at someone like, Shay Carl.
Okay.
Shay Carl was someone that was in a committed marriage, had all these kids, and then it turned out that he was doing some really lewd stuff with girls over Twitter.
What a douche.
Shay Carl interacted with other females. He worked professionally with other females, sometimes when his wife wasn't around. And the assumption wasn't that Shay Carl was cheating on his wife. Maybe some people thought that
But he
they had
was.
chemistry.
Or
Well,
no.
he ended up cheating on his wife with a random Twitter person, not
Okay.
with another celebrity, or not
Sure,
YouTuber.
sure, yeah.
So my thing is that, like, you know, Tyler's main defense is like, I don't want this internet rumor mill that he's already a part of unfairly.
Of course.
I think, you know, that's not cool, but I don't want this to impact my relationship, which makes sense. But I also think too that like there are other YouTubers and internet personalities who were bigger than you are now that have gone through this and came out of it on the other side.
Sure.
And I also think too, and I don't want to like miss this point, since in recent years with the rise of the transgender rights movement and now Me Too, we as a culture, as an American society, have been exploring the idea of what it means to be a man or a woman, and then coming to terms with that. A lot of conversation that's happened this summer has been, you know, like, what is a man? How do you be a man? And to me, it's weird because
Whole another conversation I'm interested in.
as an individual,
Save it for next week.
in terms of the way that I look at myself and that I look at other people, I've never identified myself in the sense of like, what kind of man am I?
So
if I
we're
see a
not-
girl, I can identify that she's a girl, but it's not her leading characteristic. That doesn't detract anything.
I understand.
It's almost
man
like
from a social standpoint, not man from a scientific standpoint.
no man from a social standpoint.
Got it. I'm less interested in this entire conversation all of a sudden.
And to me, like, it's problematic for me because I hate these conversations because I think they're inherently sexist. I look at myself in terms of being a person. I look at every other person I meet in terms of being a person. Obviously, their gender is a part of it.
Sure. However,
but
scientifically, you have a penis.
yeah,
And you're a man.
I identify as a man. Like, I think that all these conversations about gender and the way that we look at different people of genders and the fact that like male streamers don't want to stream with female streamers because it looks like they're dating, all that stuff to me just seems so inherently sexist that I have a problem with it. Not saying that Ninja's being sexist. I'm just talking about the culture surrounding these conversations is sexist. And I just have a hard time just wrapping my mind around it.
From a 2018 social construct, I agree with you, 100%. From a 2002 social construct, it's just not the same thing. It's just not. Like in 2002, if the internet existed and socially we were at where we were in 2002, and some guy came out and was like, you know what, I don't want to stream with women because I don't want to harm my family in any way, create rumors, blah blah blah, blah all this, all of Ninja's reasons. Not a peep. We respect your decision. That's what it would have been in 2002. However, I know this isn't saying anything bad about our society now, but we've gotten to a point where there is a thin layer of ice between what is acceptable and what's not anymore, that layer can be broken with a fucking paperclip falling on it. And that's all this really is.
So I feel like too, like this is something that I feel like was only a matter of time. This is something that in the quote unquote like real celebrity, like movie stars and stuff, they've been dealing with this for years in the tabloids. If you were caught hanging out with, oh, who's that guy? Who's that girl that this person was hanging out with? It would be everywhere.
Sure.
This is just something that as these YouTube celebrities and Twitch streamers, as they become more and more quote unquote famous,
Sure.
it's something that I think is going to become a bigger
And
deal.
I want to hear what you, because I have a feeling Trey was about to say something good, but that's kind of my point. Is like I was telling you guys earlier, if we become internet famous for whatever reason, I will do literally everything in my power to protect Whitney. Does not matter. Everything in my power to protect Whitney in every way, shape, and form. And again, if Tyler's like me, number one, I don't deal with bullshit. So if I don't want rumors flying around that I might be cheating on Whitney, fucking cut it. I'm not going to stream with females. That's just the way it is. Like, sorry guys, I get it. I get that you're mad, but number one, I do not deal with bullshit. And if somebody wants to start a rumor that's bullshit because of my choice in streaming partners, then I'm just not going to fucking deal with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I just think that it kind of comes down to a certain. I think it. Again, it's hard for me not to mention the sexist part of this, right? Because by saying that, you're saying. For example, let me give an example first, and this might help lead to where I was trying to go. We play D&D every week with Kat, right? And I think over the course of the time that we played D&D, because Chris and Kat sit relatively close together, and because Kat has good ideas and Kat's funny, like they have become more friendly. They're more friends. At no point in Chris's interaction with Kat have I ever thought that there was anything going on. Because Chris treats Kat like a human being. He treats her professionally. He talks to her the same way that he talks to everyone else. And he includes her in the group the way that he includes everyone else. I think that when you're setting boundaries like that for yourself, again, nothing for Ninja, not specifically talking about Ninja, but when you're setting boundaries for yourself like that, part of the problem is how are you talking to women? How is the way that you're talking to women? If you're treating a woman differently than you treat a dude, or vice versa,
Sure.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
I agree.
I don't think that if we ever got big, I don't think that you would ever be in a place where you would refuse to work with a woman because you're afraid of what that might look like. Because I think that you as an individual have the capacity to treat that person like a person.
Excuse me, sorry.
I don't think that your first assumption when presented with the opportunity to work with a woman is going to be, well, people might misconstrue the fact that I'm flirting with her.
Of course not. Yeah.
And that's the problem that I have, is because by admitting that, like, it's okay for me to stream with dudes, there are I hate to break it to you, a lot of gay dudes were previously married to women and said they were straight.
Sure.
That existed. And there were fucking dudes on the side.
So like,
So why you are just as likely to be caught flirting with a dude in 2018 as you are to be caught flirting with a woman.
So again, like I think and this isn't defending in any way, shape, or form, but it is respecting, because I may not believe in the Christian values and all this other stuff, but I sure as hell respect it because that's a choice. I think it just seems like such a religion-based decision, and unfortunately, the American Christian church is inherently sexist.
Well,
it just is. Like I said, 20 years ago, nobody would have batted an eye at this, because what is sexist now was not considered sexist in 2002.
Well, I mean, we had this conversation. Before we started the podcast. And if this is a religious belief, right? If Tyler was Muslim and this was the way that he conducted himself, I obviously would accept that. So I have to accept it as a Christian too.
Sure.
But with no proof saying that this is coming from a religious belief,
course.
like subtracting that,
Of course.
let's remove that. Do you does what I say make any more sense? Like if we subtract
everything you're saying makes sense. Yeah. However, I am always pro-choice. So if somebody has a choice and they have made that choice, I don't care my stance on it. I'm going to respect it because that's their choice.
So just as I guess as an alternative view to this, what if it wasn't a woman? What if it was someone just of a different color? Does that make it different?
It depends. That's the thing is like, I mean, yes, it does. For me, no, it does not make a difference. Would I consider him racist and a bigot? Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I think
100%.
we all would.
However,
Right.
it's not my job to ridicule his choice.
Right.
It's hard because Ninja's the person that started up this whole thing, right? I want to say that a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, going back to my original point, I just want to subtract ninja from the conversation.
Sure, just in
and,
general
and
now.
discuss the idea.
Yeah.
When I'm talking about how it seems inherently sexist, I'm not saying that he's sexist. I'm saying that the idea that you're afraid that your relationship with a woman is going to be misconstrued, but you're not afraid that that's going to happen with a dude, probably has to do with you treating someone differently than you're treating someone else.
Sure.
Potentially. I mean,
I am gay, right?
It's
right.
all- it's-
Hold on.
I
I am gay. How often?
What?
Yeah. How often? And please answer honestly, because I would love. How often do you guys think I'm seriously flirting with you?
since I've been on the podcast, or whenever we just worked together.
Since I realized that you were straight.
Gotcha.
No, but like seriously, have you guys ever thought like, oh, Trey is flirting with me right now?
No.
Now,
Even working
When-
at GameStop before we were friends.
yeah,
Yeah.
And how often do you see me flirt with anyone, male or female, and in a serious manner, in a way that you're like, he's into that dude?
Outside of the podcast.
Just across all interaction that you've seen with me and people.
I mean, yeah, like you and at the time, beard guy, white guy, kind of skinny, flannel shirt, Dan.
Dan. Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to say names,
No,
but
that's
yeah, but yeah, like
Good guy.
sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's fucking human nature to flirt with people.
But most of the time when I'm interacting with friends and people, there is
Sure.
a boundary that is
sure,
there,
of course,
and
there
I
is.
admit it.
Yes, of course.
So we talked earlier that like if I was put in the same position where I had a partner and I had the opportunity to stream with someone else who was gay, I would have a problem if my partner
had a
was
problem.
offended by
Sure,
that.
of course.
And that's just how I
Of
view
course.
things.
And again,
because
like-
I'm not afraid that at the end of that conversation people are going to be like, Trey wants to fuck that
Sure,
other streamer.
but however, what happens if you're Ninja, and like let's just go ahead and hypothetically speak here. If you're Ninja, and all of a sudden this huge rumor mill pops up, and it's all over the internet, and it's all over because he's been on like Fox News lately because of how big he is, right? It's all over everywhere that he's having an affair with somebody when he's not. You know,
That's-
I
it's
get,
stressful.
I get that he's not, and that shouldn't really mess with the marriage, but that hurts a family. You know what I mean? And he's getting it. He, like I said, this is where I'm seeing it. He's nipping that in the bud. He's making sure that never happens, and I have to respect him for something like that. Do I agree with the decision?
Would you do the same thing?
No, absolutely
Exactly.
not. But I respect his decision.
I get that too, but I also think that like
Like, would you want to put, like, imagine that you had fallen head over heels for somebody. Would you ever want to put that man, sorry, gender stereotypes. Would you ever want to put that, would you ever want to put that guy into that position? Ever?
I mean,
Because I would never want to do that to Whitney. Even though we both knew it wasn't anywhere near 100% true, I would never want to put that girl into that position.
I think
ever.
so. So say that we're in a similar position where I have to make a decision in the same way that that Tyler's made a decision, right? We do need to end this soon. I'm so sorry. Let's say I was put in that position though. I think that I would consider the way that I professionally treat people and the way that I treat my friends. I am secure enough in all of those interactions that I wouldn't worry about the possibility of that happening. Could it still happen? Sure,
Yeah,
of course.
absolutely.
But I also think statistically speaking, something spreading in that way, it just doesn't happen. I can't name a single YouTube celebrity or streamer that has completely ruined his marriage based off of baseless accusations. Like you look at like Dr. Disrespect, right? He actually ruined his marriage for a little while.
Sure, so-
he actually
so, like-
cheated, but I haven't found a lot of false allegations.
Sure.
of it.
I believe the,
So,
the
but
whole
like- but-
Tabasco situation. That was.
but like
Yeah, but he actually did it.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yes.
I
That's why his YouTube channel is ruined, because there was proof.
So like I get it, but the thing about this is there hasn't been, other than like Logan Paul, which he's just an utter douche. He doesn't need to be dating anybody, and whoever he is, I'm sorry for her or him, whatever.
She's rich now, so.
Yeah, I guess. But other than Logan Paul, I don't think we've ever seen somebody as huge as Ninja. We've never seen an internet personality break so far into where like CNN and Fox News and even local like news coverage is covering this person. So when you've reached
There's been some, but
sure,
yes.
but when you've reached that level, it's like the tabloids when you're checking out at HEB. Every time you turn to the left or to the right, there's a tabloid talking like Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt are in the rocks again. Kim Kardashian caught cheating with Kanye West, and it's like. That is stuff like when you've reached a certain level, that is stuff that it's just going to happen.
I think you're right.
And that really sucks. And that's,
Yeah.
like I
I
said, it's
think
just
you're-
him nipping it in the bud.
well, and I don't know a
it's
whole
not butt, it's bud.
I don't know a whole lot about Tyler's wife.
Or,
I don't-
or California.
Yeah, or California. So I'm not sure if she's into being in the public eye very much. Because it could be
don't know.
very.
I have no
it could,
clue.
It could be very much a situation to where she supports
I haven't
him.
seen her on any of his streams
Yeah,
that
I
I was
have no
catching up
clue.
with, but he openly uses her name and talks about her on his
Okay.
So, but it could be a situation to where it's like, she might have not necessarily chosen this life. She started dating him or married him, and he was just a regular streamer who enjoyed playing video games,
Sure.
and he just so happened to get huge.
Sure, she doesn't
And-
want to be a part of that.
And that might have been a
wants the
conversation
money.
that they had. Yeah, exactly. That might have been
I'm
a
sorry, that was
conversation
me. That was totally me. I
that
didn't
might
know
have been something that they talked about. And for me, if I ever got to that situation or to that point in my life to where I had to worry about these things, I would talk about it. And if at the end of the conversation, if it's something that Bree was just against, I would listen to that.
But to your point though, like I also think that the other problem with this is that it's a ban of girls altogether. A lot of streamers that play with girls aren't just playing with a girl. They are playing with a group of friends and a girl is a part of it. Which I think lowers the risk of bad shit happening.
Sure.
If we're doing something with Sarah
Absolutely, yeah.
and it's three of us and Sarah's hanging out, there's a less likely of a chance that someone's going to be like Justin and Sarah are into each other.
Sure.
So that's my other problem is it's not like I get not wanting to do one-on-one game time with someone of the opposite sex because I could see how that's a thing. You don't want to develop that
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
It's also, like you said, hard not to have respect for the way that he respects his marriage.
Yeah.
However, I just kind of
I
think
agree
that
with
just
you.
the
It is
blanket ban is
it is
interesting.
inherently sexist, and like I said, man, 20 years ago in 1998, which is considered stuff that was not considered sexist then, or stuff that you consider sexist now. I mean, wouldn't even register on the sexist radar in 1998.
It was just the norm.
It's just the norm, and that's an evolution of whatever it is, positive or negative. I don't really care, but I'm always on the side of pro-choice, which usually leans very far into that libertarian / left side. Usually, not all the time, because there's some lefters that are just like, you guys need to calm the fuck down.
Yeah, everyone has a choice to do really whatever they want.
Sure,
but
and you shouldn't be ridiculed for it. I
think
it's like
that's the thing that I have a problem with. I have no problem with his decision. I have a problem with
People's reaction.
People's
Sure.
reaction.
Yeah.
People are so quick to label.
yeah, it really sucks, man. It does.
And I do want to close, like, as a kind of closing statement, I do want to put this out there. Like, none of this is disrespect towards Ninja or his decisions. My criticism and my thoughts about this come from the general idea.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think he's a sexist. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's well within his rights to choose whatever he wants to do. And I think for the most part, his fans are on his side, and I think that's great. I just think that, like, if every male streamer felt this way, that would be a problem.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. Man, it just sucks. It sucks that you even. I mean, I guess it's one of those things. It's like, also, if we ever became internet famous, where we're making $600,000 a month, the expectations of what come with that should have already been. They ring in your mind already, right? We should already expect fucking weird fan fiction between the four of us, where we're all fucking each other for some
Nice.
weird ass. You know what I mean? That kind of shit should be expected.
Yeah.
And
I would never read it.
Right.
but-
Yeah. And unfortunately,
sometime.
for Ninja, like, I think he probably expected shit like this to happen.
Yeah.
And by going one way, he pissed off the other way. And it's like
He was
But
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Sure,
either
especially
you
when
don't,
you're that big.
either you don't stream with all girls,
Right.
or you make exceptions, and then it's like, oh well, so he definitely likes her.
I mean,
Because he
but
wouldn't stream with those girls,
Sure,
but
yeah,
he
yeah.
has a thing for her.
I think that, the brand and the name and your personal life always take priority over the content. It's something
should.
that we
Yeah,
run into on
absolutely.
Twin Stick Radio all the time, where, like last week after I had that conversation about Korean Overwatch players, I was really worried about it. I was like, am I going to come off like a racist in the segment? I listened back to it, and I'm not necessarily.
I missed her talking about Koreans.
I listened back to it, and I think that like
You know good Overwatch.
oh my god. All right, well that redeems me. But there are sections of it that I'm like, if you cut this out, this would sound really bad. But I think
Right.
my overall message was pretty good.
Yeah, and I made it a point of I made a point of it last week to point out like you don't sound like you're racist
Yeah.
right now. It's
Were you guys
okay.
talking about cheaters?
Well, I'll tell you off the
Or
mic so
just
that
like
we can.
Talking
Koreans
about
being,
pros.
or Koreans being really fucking good at video
That's
games?
exactly
Yeah,
what we
that's
were talking
exactly where that went.
It's kind of
Yeah.
stupid how good, like,
but not a generalization.
I'm going to close this up
no,
so that
they're
we can talk
just
about this when we clean up.
statistically.
Koreans are really fucking good at video games. Like, it's stupid how good they are.
Not all of them. I'm
Koreans,
sure there are
Chinese
bad
people,
ones.
dude. When you get like owned in WoW Battlegrounds, more than likely it's a Chinese dude.
If
And
you guys,
I'm talking about that statistically because there's more Chinese players in WoW than there are Americans.
This is what we were missing last week.
yeah, if you guys like what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. You can follow the show on Twitter at Twinstick Radio or on Facebook at facebook.com/Twinstick Radio. Make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube. We are currently sitting at 55 subscribers. Justin would really like it if we get to 100. And honestly, like, we are getting more views on YouTube than I expected.
Good shit.
We're doing pretty good.
I am not expecting, we're not at 100 on any of our views yet, but to get 5 to 15 views on YouTube was more than I
That's
expected.
not
So thank you.
because I don't watch the podcast.
I usually I'll watch to listen to the
I listen to the cold opening
I
to
like
see if
listening
it's
to the
me,
cold openings.
and then if it's not, I turn it off.
the cold openings make me so happy. Like last night I went on YouTube because it's easier to like load it and
Sure,
get on there than the
yeah.
podcast app. But I listened to all the cold openings that we had on YouTube.
There's some gold ones, man.
You can follow all of us on Twitter too. Slippery Stroke is just so good.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that.
Slippery stroke.
If you guys if you guys want to follow us, we're on Twitter too. I'm at Darth Trey. Chris is at Short Change Hero with a 3 instead of the E in Hero. And Justin is at Justin T. Lopez. The show is produced by Everett Jordan. Give him a follow on Twitter at the 56th, all spelled out. The show is edited by Connor. Follow him on Twitter at Connor13, one N in Connor, 13 spelled out. And check out the shit he does for Downstream Studios and hire him to make your horror video game killing noises.
Gross. I feel like the WoW statement's going to be the cold open.
I don't
or
even
the
remember
Korean
your last
one.
statement. The
I don't
Korean one
yeah,
probably is gonna be in there.
you're assuming that Connor is going to listen.
Yeah,
to the
good
whole
call.
thing.
So on a scale of percentage pie,
What?
All right.
on a pie chart,
Okay.
what percentage of us are the cold opens? Because it's just one sentence. It's just like one thing, right? Or is it?
I would
is it,
say-
is it a pretty good it's a small conversation that ends in a joke, or is it like a statement?
No, it's like
you know
a
what?
statement.
You know what I will do is I will sit down to test this theory because it's 5 seconds each time.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
I will test this theory, but I would guess that it's probably 70 between the two of us, 35,
Okay.
35, and then 30.
Okay, pretty good. So it's pretty even then.
I would.
Have
Oh, and
2%.
F2, yeah.
Have
So it's pretty
2%.
even. That's good.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad we're all
Yeah.
equally douchey.
I feel like if anything, so the only way that I expect my hypothesis to be wrong is if you could potentially be more than all of us.
Just
think-
because I say the worst things.
Well, yours, you typically have something in there. Somebody will say something, or I'll say something, and then there's like a fart noise, or
Or the creator. Oh,
something.
you know good Overwatch.
Well, and that's the other thing too is a lot of time the cold opens are a collaborative effort.
Sure, that was another thing. Is it a statement that somebody says like being,
then that's a point for all of us.
stereotyping Koreans
Well,
in the way
see,
they say Overwatch?
I feel like you have to have two different statistics. Like how often do you hear these voices in the cold opens?
Okay.
But who has the stinger?
Right. So
Right.
that's kind of my point. What's the what is that thing that jams it up the hole?
Right.
Jams it up the hole.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I'm gonna start using that one and fuck that one now
the
because
poodle.
fucking the
Fuck
poodle,
the poodle
yeah.
and
fucking
slam
the
it up the
poodle
hole
and
or jam it up the hole.
hole.
There we go. Cold open.
There you go.